Welcome to Benton High School football, as tonight the Benton Panthers will be hosting the Wildcats from Watson Chapel High School. Watson Chapel with an overall record of 3-3, a conference record of 2-1. They defeated J.A. Fair last week 10-6. Last year, Benton won this game 24-21. Watson Chapel leads the series by 5 games to 3. Well, Rob, like we said earlier, big game for both these clubs as far as the conference race goes, and the playoff situation, home field advantage, and all that.
It's an interesting twist to this series, too. In the last 4 years, that the visiting team has won each game in this rivalry. Last year and 3 years ago, Benton won at Watson Chapel, and the last 2 times they played here, Watson Chapel's won here. So Benton will be looking to break that spell with the victory tonight.
See, Jay Gwatney and McGee are the co-captains for tonight's ball game. Watson Chapel with a couple of sophomores in that starting backfield tonight.
That's a couple of sophomores in the backfield. Little Lancaster, who they started at tailback?
Benny Broyles is what I had.
Okay, he's a senior.
He's a senior.
You're thinking of, well, Tyrone Fields is their wingback flanker. He is a sophomore as well. They're a young team, basically, but Sutton's done a great job of getting them prepared and to play well down the conference stretch. They beat Hot Springs. That was the big upset of the year. It really served notice that they were a team to be reckoned with. They beat Hot Springs 14-0 for their first conference victory, and kind of put Hot Springs in a precarious position. And tonight we'll see how they stack up against the Benton Panthers.
And quickly, we'll check the offensive lineup for the Panthers. It's split in Jay Goheen, the 5'10", 175-pound senior. At left tackle, Steve Wood, 6'3", 275-pound junior. Left guard, David McGee, the 6', 290-pound senior. At right guard, Sam Campbell, the 6', 240-pound senior. Tony Hester at right tackle, the 5'9", 210-pound senior. Drew Yoakum plays a tight end. He's 6'2", 225-pound senior. And Jay Gwatney, the center, 5'11", a 185-pound senior. Quarterback Brad Collett, the 6'2", 165-pound junior. We expect to see John Brewer and Jamie Jones at the halfback spots tonight, and Greg Rogers, the 5'9", 170-pound senior, starting at fullback. Defensively for the Panthers, at the end spots, Dean Bird, 5'11", 185-pound junior. At the other end, Adam Wright, 6'1", a 210-pound junior. The tackles, Heath Nix, 6 foot tall, a 220-pound senior. The other tackle will be Jared Hambrick, 5'10", a 190-pound senior. The nose man, Greg Mundy, 6'1", a 240-pound senior. Linebackers, Roger Barker, 6'4", the 210-pound senior. Brian Holder, 6'2", the 185-pound junior. In the secondary, Cliff Phillips, Rick Daniel, Jay Goheen, and Chris Barton. As the Fighting Panthers take the field, we're about set for tonight's kickoff, as Panther football will continue right after this 60-second timeout. Have the toss go?
They won the toss and elected to receive. Chapel did.
Chapel did. 38 back deep.
36.
36. Chapel won the toss. We're underway as Reed Kaufman approaches the football. Back deep is John Roberts. Roberts will take the ball at about his own 8-yard line. Back over the 10, the 15, the 20, the 25. Hit hard as he gets over the 25 at about the 27 and driven back. John Roberts on the return here in the first quarter as Chapel won the toss and elected to receive. Panthers here in the first quarter will be moving from right to left as you listen. Panthers on defense. In the backfield for the Watson Chapel Wildcats, they'll have Kip Van Hoos. He is a junior quarterback. The tailback is Benny Broyles. Fullback is Dwight Lancaster. And the wingman is Tyrone Fields. Backs will be fairly well split behind the quarterback, Van Hoos. Van Hoos turns, handoff goes, as the ball carrier is Everett Dixon, the surprise starter, as Dixon tries the left side and picks up yardage out near the 30-yard line.
Good stop there by Cliff Phillips, one-on-one. Brought him down with a solid tackle.
Everett Dixon, the ball carrier, got it out to about the 30-yard line. That will set up a second down. And the Wildcats need about 7 for the 1st and 10. As John Roberts comes wide to the right. Van Hoos, man in motion back to the far side. Here's Van Hoos, handoff to Dixon once again, and Dixon tries to run behind the left side of his offensive line and picks up just a couple of tough yards.
Dixon is a senior, 5'10", 170 pounds, a fullback. He was one of the captains tonight. I talked to Coach Sutton earlier in the week, and he indicated that the sophomore Dwight Lancaster would start, and Lancaster's a real specimen, 6 foot 209.
So it's Dixon and Benny Broyles in there at the running backs behind Van Hoos. Man in motion back to the far side. A handoff to Benny Broyles. Broyles is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play by the Panthers.
That time, that was Roger Barker who corralled him and just hauled him down. A good play by Barker.
So that will run Watson Chapel out of downs. They will punt the football away as Jake Goheen and Rick Daniel will drop back deep to await the kick. Ball is spotted just shy of the 35-yard line. So they're a couple of yards shy of the yardage needed for the 1st and 10. As in to punt for Watson Chapel is Kevin Downing. As Goheen and Daniel will stand back at about their 25-yard line. Here's the snap. Not much of a rush, and the kick, nice spiraling kick, fairly low, taken by Goheen at the 30, comes back to the near side, tries to cut back against the grain. The flag goes down as Goheen goes down at the 35-yard line.
I think they're going to get a clip there. Heath Nix came in, didn't quite have the angle.
About a 5-yard return by Jake Goheen, but it looks like it'll be wiped out by an illegal block of some sort, probably a clip. Goheen got it to the Panther 35-yard line as Brad Collett checks into the offensive huddle for the Panthers' first possession of the night. No score, just underway with 9:50 left to play in the first quarter. We see Jamie Jones, Brad Collett, John Brewer, and Greg Rogers in there in the offensive backfield set for the Panthers. Ball marked back to the 20-yard line following the penalty. So the Panthers start their first possession of the night, 1st and 10 at their own 20. Clock running with 9:48 left to play in the first quarter. As going wide to the right will be Matt Welch, running room to the Panthers' right. Wishbone behind Collett at the 20-yard line, first down play. Handoff goes to Brewer as Brewer tries to find his way over the 20. Got maybe just one tough yard on that one, Rob.
They stacked it up pretty close. Rogers in on the carrier, the fullback there. It'll be tough going up the middle. Watson Chapel's got some good size in there. They talk about about Benton being big and being bigger than they are, but they've got some good size on that defensive and their offensive lines. Goheen in the ball game, split wide to the left. Collett sets his offense at the 21-yard line. Handoff Jones, right side. He's cut down at about the line of scrimmage. Might have fallen forward for about a half yard, but he was cut down hard. On a good tackle around the knees at about between the 21 and 22-yard line, marking closer to the 22. So the Panthers look at a 3rd down. They'll still need just over 8 for the 1st and 10. Jamie was looking for a cut there, and Torrance Jackson, the defensive end on that side, did a good job of just cutting his legs out from under him before he could get anything going. Goheen remains in the ball game, goes wide to the right side of the field. Yoakum the tight end to the left side. Collett calls for it. Collett, quick pass to Goheen, intercepted at the 3rd, 25, 20, 15, and finally dragged down across the way as it was John Roberts on the interception for Watson Chapel. He had Goheen open over there, but he let him just a little bit too much, and Roberts was there to pick it off, and Watson Chapel's in scoring position now. So the Wildcats get the first break of the ball game on the interception by John Roberts, as return is just inside the Panther 15-yard line, 1st and 10. So Kip Van Hoos, the junior quarterback, will check back in for the Wildcats. And Dixon remains in the ball game along with Benny Broyles at the running back spots behind Van Hoos. 1st and 10 just inside the Panther 15. Man in motion back to the far side. Van Hoos, handoff Broyles, right side, finds some running room inside the 15 and drives down to about the 13-yard line. Again, Barker on the tackle there. Roger Barker on the tackle for Benton. Ball
be spotted near the Benton 12-yard line, and it'll be second down and about 8 yards needed for the 1st and 10. Ball in Panther territory.
Big early test for the Benton defense here, and they could really turn the momentum back around to their side if they can make a stand here.
John Roberts comes wide to the right side for the Wildcats. As Van Hoo sets his offense, he rolls right, wants to throw, looks for Starr into the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone by the Panthers.
And they did just that. Jake Goheen coming up with his 2nd interception of the season in the end zone. And the momentum turns just that quickly. A nice job. Really, Jake was just playing center field and was a little overthrown, and he picked it off, and Watson Chapel is denied.
So Goheen was waiting for it in the end zone. Ball comes back out to the 20 following the Goheen interception. 1st and 10 Panthers with 7:31 left to play in the 1st quarter. No score. As Danny Cochran's in the ball game for the first time, he'll come wide to the left. Danny, the sophomore, has seen a lot of action this season. Wishbone, Collett spins, handoff goes to John Brewer, and Brewer is out near the 25-yard line before he's knocked down. But a good pickup of close to 5 on the play by John Brewer. Knows the football will be right at the 25. Set up the Panthers with a 2nd down. They'll still need 5 for the 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. 1st quarter action from C.W. Lewis Stadium. Larry Hart along with Rob Patrick. Hope you enjoy tonight's broadcast.
You may see the ball on both teams go mostly on the ground now. Both of them have thrown one pass. Both of them been intercepted.
Here's Collett. Handoff goes to Greg Little in the ball game, and Little fights his way up near that 1st down marker across the 30 and got it maybe to the 31. If so, that should be enough for the 1st and 10. 1st and 10 Panthers.
Really, the challenge is with the offensive lines of both teams to control the line of scrimmage. Benton's offensive line really came into its own against Texarkana last time out, and they're really hoping to pick up where they left off, and that was a good indication that they are right back in the same groove.
Ball squarely in the middle of the field. Rick Daniel in the ball game. He's the wide out to the left side. Here's Collett. Collett spins. Handoff. Jamie Jones up the middle. Finds more running room for about 5 more yards up near the 35, maybe to the 36-yard line. Jamie Jones. Jamie hurt that ankle in the 2nd ball game of the season.
Right, a big game for him against Arkadelphia, and has been out. He was in on one play last week, and just hadn't been able to go, but he's back in full swing tonight.
It is 2nd down. Panthers need 5 at their own 36-yard line. Cochran still in the ball game. This time goes wide to the right. Collett has his offense at the line of scrimmage, sets them. Handoff goes to John Brewer. Brewer running hard over the 40 into the 42-yard line. Should be another 1st and 10.
He did a good job of just keeping his feet going. I don't know if they gave him that extra lunge he got there. It looked like he got an extra couple of yards and easily made the 1st down with that last lunge, but they marked the ball back to where he started that lunge, and now it's going to be close enough they're going to have to measure.
Ball is spotted back at the Panther 41, and they'll bring the chains in from across the way to see how close John was as they'll stretch it out. And looks like it may be just shy. Just what, an inch? Just that much, just an inch. So it's 3rd down and short for the Panthers. Ball at their own 41-yard line. No score in the ball game. 5:56 left to play in the 1st quarter. As Collett will send Jake Goheen wide to the left. Panthers have the ball at their own 41. 3rd down and about an inch to go for the 1st and 10 as Collett brings them up in the wishbone. Bark signals as he sets his offense. Quarterback sneak. Collett should have the 1st and 10 up near the 42-yard line.
That was an excellent job by the middle of the offensive line there for the Panthers. David McGee, the guard, on one side, and the center, Jake Watney, and I think it's Sam McCampbell on the other side. A quarterback sneak when Watson Chapel had both their linebackers stacked right in the middle on Jake Watney's nose, and they edged it out there for the 1st down.
So it is a 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Ball on their 43-yard line. Goheen wide to the left. Collett sets them. Collett spins, wants to throw to Goheen. Goheen can't hang on about the 49-yard line. Hit hard there.
Boy, he's a gutsy receiver. He really extended himself over the middle there, tried to come up with that ball because Collett really let him. And he just took a dive for it and really got smacked good in the ribs. He's a little slow getting up, but he looks to be like he'll be all right.
Goheen out of the ball game. Rick Daniel in. Daniel goes wide to the right side as the Panthers at the line of scrimmage looking at a 2nd down and 10 from their own 43-yard line. As Collett sets his wishbone offense once again. Here's Collett. Hand off to John Brewer. This time Brewer's going to be piled up as he got to about the 45-yard line. So a gain of a couple that time for John Brewer, and the Panthers will look at third down and long. Third down, they will still need about 8. All at the Panther 45-yard line. 5:13 left to play first quarter. Jake Goheen will check back into the offensive huddle with the play from the sideline. As he appears to be okay, Jake will come wide to the left.
Watson Chapel's really stacking it in tight with their defense. We might see Benton try to go wide on this play.
Third down and 8 from the Panther 45. Here's play action pass. Collett looks downfield, looks for Rick Daniels.
He got him.
35, 30 outside, and finally knocked out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
I think it's John Brewer coming out of the backfield. A very nice play. Just circled out, and Collett led him just beautifully. Dropped it in there, caught it on stride, and a big first down inside the 25.
It was Brewer, and they will spot it inside the 25 at about the 24-yard line. John Brewer coming out of the backfield, number 22 on the catch. First down, Panthers.
Big 31-yard pickup.
At the 24-yard line. So the Panthers had their first major drive of the evening with 4:42 left to go. First and 10 at the Wildcat 24. Cochran's in the ball game, will come wide to the left.
That was a big play, 3rd and 8, and they picked up big yardage.
Collett has the ball. Here's Jamie Jones, and Jamie's going to be stacked up behind the line of scrimmage. Got it to about the 25, and he was knocked backwards there.
A little bit of a trap there, and the Chapel defensive players didn't bite, and Jamie just ran into a wall.
It'll be a loss of about a yard. Set up the Panthers for the second down. They'll still need about 11 now for the first and 10. The nose of the football resting at the Watson Chapel 25-yard line. Goheen's back in the ball game. He'll go wide to the right. As Little's at fullback. Here's Collett, wants to throw. Clear pass to Brewer again, the 25. Brewer up near the 20 and knocked out of bounds inside the 20 over on the far side.
Another good job by both Brewer and Collett. I don't think Brewer was the primary receiver. Goheen was double covered down the right side as he's been drawing more double coverage and opening things up for the rest of the offense. And Brewer was out to the flat on the right side, and Collett laid it out there nicely for him and got ahead for a good pickup.
It'll be third down and about just better than a yard as Greg Mundy and Roger Barker both check into the backfield for the Panthers. Third down and call it 1 for the Panthers. Ball just outside the 15-yard line. Hand off Jamie Jones right side, and it'll be close. He was hit as he came across the line of scrimmage to the right side, and I don't know if he got it or not, Rob.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit short.
It appears from here
the way
that
they
he
marked
was
it.
short as they mark it just inside the 15, and it will be fourth down and just a little less than a yard needed for the first and 10 as Rick Daniels in the ball game will come wide to the left. Greg Mundy remains in there along with Roger Barker at fullback.
That's the blocking backfield, but look for Jones.
Here's Jones. He'll take it left side, and he'll fight his way down near the 10-yard line for the first and 10.
Boy, they just got that on surge. He just grabbed a hold of the back of Greg Mundy or Roger Barker, one of those guys, and just rode him down to the 5-yard line. A good job on that side by Steve Wood, and I think McCampbell's on that side, and he's in there right now. And they just blew out Watson Chapel on a big 5-yard gain.
They will mark it just inside the 10, call it the 9-yard line. First and goal for the Panthers as Goheen is back in the ball game. He'll come wide to the left. Collett at the line of scrimmage, sets his offense. Here's Collett, spin, handoff goes to Greg Mundy, and Mundy's trying to fight his way down to about the 5-yard line.
Well,
Big Greg running hard.
Only his second carry of the season, and he made the most of it, really pile driving down for a gain of 5.
He looked like a running back on that.
He sure did.
That's down to about just inside the 5-yard line. Back, we'll call it the 4. Second and goal from the Watson Chapel 4-yard line. Cochran's in the ball game. He'll go wide left. Mundy and Barker and Brewer, the running backs in the wishbone. Collett, set, spins, handoff, Brewer. Brewer's down near the 2 before being driven back. John Brewer, the ball carrier, down to about the 2, will set up third down and go with 2:10 left to play first quarter. We have no score, but the fighting Panthers are threatening.
That time they just used Barker and Mundy as decoys and ran a little trap or a little blast play with Brewer and tried to get it on surge. And what they did get was 2.5 yards just on that blocking.
Jamie Jones and Jake Goheen will check back in. John Brewer comes out.
John holding his shoulder a little bit.
Might have hurt his shoulder on that play as Goheen will come wide to the left. as Collett sets him at about the 2-yard line, third down play. Collett bootlegs, rolls left, throws, end zone, incomplete for Goheen.
Goheen again, a diving try, but it was just out of his reach.
Collett bootleg to the left after faking to the right, and just out of the reach in the end zone of Jake Goheen. That'll bring up 4th down and goal from the 2 with 1:34 left to play in the first quarter. No score as Panthers try to get it in as Rick Daniel would check in, Rob.
Brad really had his option there to run or pass. The defensive end for Watson Chapel played it pretty well. He was blocked, but he contained the play and didn't allow Collett to run. He had Goheen open, but just couldn't quite make connection.
4th and goal from the 2. Here's handoff going to Jamie Jones, left side. Jamie dives in. He's close. No indication yet.
He stopped short right at the 1-inch line, and Jamie cut it up and tried to cut against the grain to get it in there. If he might have made it if he kept going wide, but it was a decision, a split-second decision, and he almost made it as it was.
Just made a dive for the end zone, and the nose of that football, Rob, is resting right near that goal line.
Right at the goal line, and with the penetration that the Panthers can sometimes get with the likes of Mundy and Nix and Hambrick up there and Adam Wright, they could, Watson Chapel better take care to get forward motion here.
Langford goes wide to the right as Van Hoos, the quarterback, brings him up. Handoff goes to Dixon, and Dixon
tackled for
safety. As getting to him.
I saw Adam Wright, Jared Hambrick, and Dean Bird, or was it Cliff Phillips?
Cliff Phillips, I believe, got to him first, Rob, for the safety. And that is what, the 3rd safety of the season for the Panthers?
It's the 2nd I remember, but you may be right.
I can remember 2 for sure.
Yeah, that was a great play. Chapel tried to go up the middle. It was stacked up by Mundy in there, and Hambrick got enough penetration to force it wide, and there was Phillips coming up from the cornerback to make the tackle. An excellent job for the Panthers.
So now on the free kick, the Panthers will get the ball right back. So a good defensive play by Cliff Phillips puts 2 points on the board with 1:04 left to play in the first quarter.
They were determined to score down there. While they got the chance.
They did too, didn't they? As Brewer and Cliff Phillips will drop back deep to await the kick. And it looks like the Chapel kicker will place kick it. That's Kevin Downing, as he'll tee it up at the 20-yard line. Phillips to the far side, and John Brewer to the near side. They send back at the Panther 20-yard line as Kevin Downing gets set to kick off following the Benton Panther safety. 2-0 Panther lead. 4A conference football. Here's the kick from Downing. It'll be short and taken by Phillips at the 32, 35, 40-yard line. And Phillips met hard, pushed back at about the 43-yard line of the Panthers. So Cliff Phillips on the return out to the Panther 43-yard line. Good field position. Exactly 1 minute left to play in the first quarter.
After he nailed Everett Dixon for the safety.
And he did nail him. There was no doubt about that one.
It was an excellent play, and he wasn't the only one in the vicinity either. Jared Hambrick and Adam Wright were there, and it was an excellent defensive play. And now the Panthers have good field position to try to capitalize and get more.
Goheen goes wide to the right. Yoakum, the tight end, to the left side. Wishbone formation as Collett sets his offense at his own 43. Handoff goes to Brewer, and Brewer is over the 45. Met at about the 46, 47. And met rather rudely right there and pushed back to about the 45. But forward progress marking at about the 46, Rob. As John Brewer running hard but not having the success he's had in his earlier 2 ball games.
The thing is, though, that Benton is getting 3, 4, 5 yards per pop, and if they can and it's a lot of it's due to the offensive line playing as well as they did against Texarkana. They're just making room for the Benton backs to run. And if they can pick up the 3, 4, 5, sometimes popping for 10 or 11 yards per carry, then they're going to be all right tonight.
Well, that is the end of the first quarter with our score. The Benton Panthers 2 and the Watson Chapel Wildcats nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. Hart along with Rob Patrick as we enter the second quarter. The Panthers have a second down, and they need about 7 for the 1st and 10. Panthers moving from left to right here in the second quarter. Collett with the football. Handoff goes to Jamie Jones, and Jamie was jammed up at the line of scrimmage, but fights forward and gets it out to the 47, maybe the 48-yard line. To get back to that point you were making as we went into the break, Rob, it was ball control and possession of the clock that really won that football game against Texarkana.
And that's really the way Dwight Fite likes to play. Good, solid, hard defense and ball control offense. And at the beginning of the season, it didn't look like this was going to be that type of Benton Panther team. But the offensive line has developed to the point, and as well as the backs. John Brewer and Jamie Jones, just 2 good reasons there.
Collett takes the snap. Collett comes to the right on the option play. He'll keep over the 50 into Chapel territory, and he'll hit down near the Watson Chapel 48-yard line.
And there's another person we shouldn't forget, the fact that Brad Collett's run well. He's been known as a passing quarterback, but he's taken the job of running seriously and made positive yardage every time he gets a chance to, and he takes care of the ball well. That one interception there was, I believe, his first of the season.
And he's taken some hits today, this year, too.
He's been very rugged this year.
I was watching the Malvern tape this afternoon again, and he took a couple of hard licks in that game. They'll bring the chains in to measure, and Brad is going to be just about a yard short of the yardage needed for the 1st and 10. So the Panthers will be looking at a 4th down and about a yard. They have the ball in Wildcat territory.
Coach Fite showing confidence in his offensive line, says go for it.
Jake Goheen will check in with a play from the sideline. Ball spotted close to the near hash mark as Goheen, as they break the huddle, will go wide to the left as Collett brings them up to the line of scrimmage. Rogers in at fullback. Collett sets them. Call signals, long count, still long count. Collett trying to draw him offside. Now he'll take the timeout. Well, Coach Fite wanted to get that offsides call as Collett called and barked signals, and finally they'll take the timeout and punt the football away.
This close to midfield, and the way these two teams are battling, it's probably a good idea to just go ahead and turn the field position over, get Watson Chapel deep in their own end, so where they have to go a long way. And not many teams are going to drive a long way against this Benton Panther defense. It just doesn't happen. They're too stout. Now Chapel may come out and do it, but it doesn't happen that often.
So Brian Holter in the punt formation as back deep will be John Roberts for Watson Chapel. The line of scrimmage is the Watson Chapel 47.5-yard line as Brian Holter will punt to John Roberts. He's the single safety standing back inside his 15. Here's the snap. Good snap. Fairly big rush. A wobbly kick will land at about the 21. Gets a Benton roll inside the 20, inside the 15, and will roll dead over on the far side near the 12-yard line.
Good effective punt.
Good roll on the kick there for Brian Holter. And again, Chapel will start deep. They started in the last drive on their 1-inch line.
And ended up paying dearly for it.
So they got field position this time, right? They have the ball at their own 12-yard line. 1st and 10, 10:49 left to play in the first half. Benton leads on the safety. 2-zip.
The Panthers really turn the field position around with that one long offensive drive, because Watson Chapel had it at the Benton 12 at one point.
Roberts goes wide right. Big hole right side over the 20, 25-yard line. That's the running back Benny Broyles. As Broyles is up near the 30, over the 30 to about the 31. And they got out of that hole quickly. Benny Broyles, the senior running back. They'll mark it at the 30-yard line. But
Cliff Phillips made the touchdown-saving tackle on that one, coming over from the right corner.
So one big play gets Watson Chapel out of the shadow of their own goal post. It was 1st and 10 at their 12. It's now 1st and 10 at their 30, following the run by Benny Broyles. Wildcat quarterback Van Hoos will send Roberts out wide to the left. Dickinson and Broyles, the running back. Handoff goes to Dickinson once again. Check that. That's
Lancaster
in the ball game, as Lancaster will be piled up at about the line of scrimmage and fights forward to about the 31-yard line for a pickup of just a yard. Will set up a 2nd down and 9. John Lancaster had been scheduled to start, or the Dwight Lancaster scheduled to start, and that's his first carry of the night, as Davidson has been in there for the most part. Roberts this time will come wide to the left, also wide out to the right, as Van Hoos sets his offense, set the Chapel 31-yard line. Here's Van Hoos. Fakes, he'll keep. Cuts inside, left 40. And knocked down at about the 43 to 44-yard line. Van Hoos. Kip Van Hoos, the junior quarterback. And it's another 1st and 10 for the Watson Chapel Wildcats. Marks the ball at the Chapel 43.
That's the first time they'd really shown the option tonight, and Van Hoos got outside, picked up good yardage. They're moving the football better than they have so far in the game. In the first quarter, they only had 6 plays, and they've got half of that already in the second quarter.
And coming out wide to the left will be Tyrone Fields. This time they're in the I formation. That's the first time they've shown that. Pitch back goes to Broyles. Broyles, 45, 50, breaks tackles, 45, 40, 35, back to the middle of the field. Inside the 30, flags are down as Broyles goes down at about the Panther 27-yard line, but a flag dropped back at the Chapel 47-yard line. Boy,
I don't know what he was. He really turned that corner with authority.
Broyles got up holding his side. The flag was dropped back at the Chapel 47-yard line, and they'll bring it back. So a clipping call is what it is against Watson Chapel. Wipes out the good run by Benny Broyles.
That's a break for the Panthers because they were really on the move there.
He just exploded as he took that pitch deep in the I formation, came around the left side, broke a couple of tackles, and burst into the open.
Ended up a 30-yard pickup there, but that's been negated.
But the clipping penalty will mark it back to the Chapel 31-yard line. So the Chapel will be looking at a 1st down. They'll still need about 23, 24 yards for the 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the Chapel 31-yard line. 2-0 Benton. A safety coming with minute 4 left to play in the first quarter. Kip Van Hoos, the Watson Chapel quarterback. Ball spotted on the near hash mark as Roberts will come wide to the left, short side of the field. Once again, I formation. Lancaster fullback takes the handoff from Van Hoos, and he is piled up at about the 33-yard line to pick up just a couple for Lancaster.
Greg Mundy getting off the bottom of the pile.
Greg Mundy, the last man to get up. Pick up of about 2, sets up a 2nd down, and still about 21 yards needed for the 1st and 10. Ball at the Chapel 33-yard line, 8:08 left to play first half. Stanley Atkins in the ball game. And wide receiver to the left side, Tyrone Fields. Van Hoos, play action pass, drops back, looks down the middle of the field, has the ball slapped away, and a flag goes down. Van Hoos went down.
Greg Mundy just got him by the ankles and got him down there. I think the flag may be holding, and they may have been holding Mundy, and despite that, he made the sack.
Mundy got to him, and the ball, Van Hoos tried to make the pass, but it falls incomplete. It is a holding call against Watson Chapel. So somebody trying to keep Greg Mundy out of there evidently couldn't do it as Mundy got to Van Hoos. It is a holding call as the options being discussed for the Panther defense. Roger Barker.
Now they'll add this to the loss. So looks like a holding penalty.
It is holding. The indication, preliminary indication was holding, and that will set the ball back inside the 20-yard line of Watson Chapel, back to about where this drive started, just out over the 12-yard line. It's 2nd down. They need about 36 for the 1st and 10.
They've been down and back.
As the ball is actually on the 17-yard line, not the 12, as Roberts goes wide to the right. Van Hoos has his team at the line of scrimmage on a 2nd down play. Van Hoos tries the option to the right side, and he is cut down at about after a yard pickup.
Heath Nix on the tackle there, I believe.
It was Heath Nix on the tackle after a pickup of just about a yard, so it's going to be 3rd and still very long. 3rd and about 38 for Watson Chapel. Ball shy of their own 18-yard line. Clock running with just over 7 minutes left to play in the first half. It's Benton 2, Watson Chapel nothing. Wildcats 2-1 in conference play coming into tonight's game. Panthers 2-0 as Tyrone Fields goes wide to the left. Van Hoos sets his offense. Hand off to Broyles again. Broyles is over the 20 to about the 22 before he's swarmed by maroon jerseys and brought down right there. So it's 4th down and long, and the Panthers will get their hands back on the football. 6:42 left to play in the first half as Jake Goheen and And Rick Daniel will check in to await the kick. Line of scrimmage is the Watson Chapel 22-yard line.
Benton defense did a good job that time of stopping Watson Chapel, but Chapel did a lot of that on their own with 2 big penalties in that series, and that's a sign of a young team.
Here's the snap to Kevin Downing, left-footed kicker, gets it away. Nice high spiral taken by Goheen at the 44. Fakes the reverse, comes to the near side. Wall is set up, 50, 45, but he's cut down at about the 45-yard line. As down there on the tackle was Everett Dixon to drop Goheen, but he got it into Chapel territory at about the 45-yard line. They'll mark it closer to the 46. But Goheen, once again, almost broke one.
That fake of the reverse prevented him from being tackled when he caught the ball because there was a man there, but because he faked it to Daniel going the other way, that man had to play it a little safe and watch Daniel coming around, and he didn't get a chance to tackle either one of them. He was kind of twixt in between, and Goheen got ahead for a good 10-yard pickup.
Running room to the Panthers left. Collett spins. Handoff goes to Brewer. Brewer tries to run it up the middle, and Brewer's inside the 45. Got it to about the 44-yard line. So Brewer picks up between 2 and 3 on that first down carry. Will set up a second down. They're giving him only about a yard on that. Mark it just over inside the 45. Call it the 44. Second down, and still about 9 needed for the 1st and 10. Ball marked at the Wildcat 44-yard line. Collett quickly has his offense back at the line of scrimmage. Here's Collett, spins, he'll keep. Now pitch back to Jamie Jones. Jones is going to be trapped and cut down at the 45. Fake up the middle, pitch out to Jamie Jones, coming to the near side, the right side, and Jamie is knocked down at the 45 after a pickup of maybe another yard. We'll set up 3rd down and long for the Panthers at the Wildcat 45, and 5 minutes left to play in the first half.
That was good defense from Watson Chapel. They had all 3 options covered on that one, and there was really nowhere for Benton to pick on them at that point.
Ball's just inside the 45, so it's 3rd down and still about 9 needed for the 1st and 10 as Collett has his offense set. Here's Collett, wants to throw, has Daniel, but Daniel can't make the catch. Daniel hit hard after the toss was made at about the 35-yard line. Rick Daniel cannot come up with a pass from Brad Collett, so that'll run the Panthers out of downs.
I think Rick was looking to run with it before he caught it there because he had some room to run or some room to pick up some big yardage because he was open, and it just slipped through his hands.
But again, Benton has a good chance to put the Wildcats in the hole. Line of scrimmage is the Wildcat 45 as Brian Holter will kick from about his own 45 when he gets it away. John Roberts back deep in single safety for the Wildcats. He'll stand back at about his 10. Here's a snap, some outside rush. Not a great kick this time. It's going to land at about the 21-yard line. Bounces straight up in the air, finally rolls inside the 20, and is down at about the 19-yard line. As Dean Bird downfield to down the football at the 19. So Chapel with 4:33 left to play in the first half takes over 1st and 10. They'll mark it closer to the 18. Benton leads on a safety on a tackle in the end zone by Phillips. Now the clock will start. 4.5 minutes left to play. In the first half, John Roberts comes wide to the left for the Wildcats. I formation. Broyles the deep back in the I. Here's a quick pitch goes to Broyles. Broyles tries the right side, being chased by Holter and caught by Holter from behind along with somebody else.
Good job by Holter, and on that side, the defensive end is Adam Wright, who tracked him down as well, and Chris Barton was in on it as I think the Panther.
Gain on the play out over the 20 to the 21. It'll be 2nd down after the pickup of 2. 8 yards needed for the 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. 3:54 left to play first half. Ball over on the far hash mark. 2nd down and 8. As Van Hoos will bring him to the line of scrimmage, and we have whistles as they reach the line of scrimmage. And an official timeout.
Got a helmet problem.
Helmet problem over for one of the Panthers.
Adam
Wright. Has it corrected, and we're just about set to go. Whistle blows. Van Hoos walks up slowly behind his center. Junior quarterback for the Chapel Wildcats. 2nd down and 8. Long count by Van Hoos. Spins, handoff goes, and a hole up the middle as in the ball game is Lancaster, the fullback, he's out over the 25 to the 26-yard line.
A solid tackle by Barker on that one, too.
He had an opening just for a second, but it closed very quickly.
They trapped him. Brian Holter was blitzing on the play and just got caught up in the trap a little bit, or he would have made the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. He had a beat on him, but got blocked, screened out.
Third down, and Wildcats still need 3 for the 1st and 10 as they come to the line of scrimmage. Van Hoos has him set, man in motion back to the near side. Here's a handoff going to Lancaster again. He's going to hit up near the 30-yard line, over the 30 to about the 31, and will be short of the yardage needed for the 1st and 10. So the Panthers should get their hands on the football at least one more time. Our correction, 1st and 10.
Nice job by Cliff Phillips on the tackle, but they did get ahead for the first down.
It is marked up at the 30-yard line for the 1st and 10. So it is a 1st and 10 for the Chapel Wildcats. Ball on the near hash mark. Wide receiver Roberts goes to the right side.
First time they've shown 2 split ends, so we may see him put it in the air here.
Fields to the left. Dropping straight back is Van Hoos. He's looking long for Roberts, being covered by Daniel, and Daniel.
Oh, my.
Oh, he almost made a spectacular catch after Daniel went up in the air with him, as John Roberts, at about the Panther 35, he had that ball for just a second.
Boy, I tell you, he juggled it and juggled it and juggled it. Daniel went up for it, tried to knock it down, got a hand on it, but it went up straight up in the air, and Roberts, trying to keep his balance and hand on the football, tipped it 3 or 4 times before it finally trickled away and trickled out of his grasp.
Incompletion will stop the clock with 2:29 left to play in the first half. Ball is marked at the Watson Chapel 30-yard line. Wide receiver goes wide to the right this time for the Wildcats. I formation behind Van Hoos. Van Hoos spins and met at the line of scrimmage, and getting forward to about the 33-yard line is Lancaster. Not much doing as he tried the left side that time of his offensive line. Ball will be marked up near the 34-yard line of the Watson Chapel Wildcats. 2:10 left to play in the first half.
Tried to surprise the Panthers with a quick pop up the middle, 4 yards.
Third down, and still 6 needed for the 1st and 10 from the Wildcat 34. Roberts this time will go wide to the right. Stanley Atkins to the left side, the tight end. Van Hoos drops straight back, no fake. Now he rolls right, being chased by Nix, gets a pass away, incomplete at the 45-yard line.
When it actually went through a couple of Wildcat hands there, the tight end Stanley Atkins was short, and split end John Roberts was deep, and it went through both other hands.
Roberts had it at about the 45 and let it slip away with a minute 48 left to play in the first half. That'll bring up 4th down, and we should see Kevin Downing back in the ball game to punt away, as Rick Daniel, Jake Goheen drop back in twin safeties for the Panthers. They'll stand back inside their 35. Line of scrimmage, Watson Chapel's 34. Downing, left-footed kicker. Ball is on the near hash mark. Goheen is to the far side. Here's the snap. Not much of a rush. Low kick will be taken by Daniel. He lets it get away from him. Goheen picks it up on the run at the 30, near side, 35. Goheen the 40, and knocked out of bounds between the 40 and the 45-yard line. Heads-up play by Jake Goheen as Daniel let that ball get away from him. Goheen picked it up on the hop and was knocked out of bounds as the ball will be spotted right at the 45-yard line. Good job by Jake.
Looks like they're going to put in, well, for a minute there, I thought they were going to put in both Daniel and Goheen and run double wideouts, but just Daniel came in. We'll see if they put it in the air.
Line of scrimmage, the Panther 45-yard line with a minute 38 left to play in the first half. It's 1st and 10. Jamie Jones, John Brewer at the halfback spots. Drew Yoakum now, the tight end, goes to the left side, and Daniel comes to the right side. Rogers at fullback. Wishbone, Collett, and pitch goes on the reverse to Daniel. Daniel's in trouble and is going to be tackled for about a 5-yard loss back at the 40-yard line as Everett Dixon in to make the play for the Chapel Wildcats.
He had that one man to beat, but Dixon made a good tackle, open field tackle on Daniel, and he tried to take it wide of him and couldn't quite get around him.
A minute 19 left to play in the first half as the loss back to just over the Panther 40-yard line. Clock continues to run. A minute 10 left to play in the first half. Panthers with a 2-0 lead. Ball on the the far hash mark. Goheen is in the ball game, and he'll come to the right side. That's the wide side of the field for the Panthers. 2nd down play, 2nd and 15. Here's Collett. Little swing pass goes to Brewer. Brewer the 40, Brewer the 45, 46 knocked down at the 46-yard line.
Really a solid block by Goheen. He caught John Roberts was trailing Brewer, covering him from out of the backfield, and Goheen peeled back and just leveled Roberts and enabled Brewer to get ahead for as much as he did. I think that was pretty much a lateral, and it'll go as a running play.
Van Hoos and Atkins in on the play defensively for Watson Chapel. Mark it at the 45-yard line. Just 20 seconds left in the first half. Third down play as Collett will swing it again out in the flat to Goheen, as Goheen will come back to the near side. Here's Goheen, the 45, takes the block and is in over the 50 to about the 49-yard line. As the final seconds will tick off the clock here to end the first half with the score Benton 2 and the Watson Chapel Wildcats nothing. We'll be back with halftime activities as Panther football will continue right after this 60-second break. And I can't. Well, a great football weekend will continue tomorrow night on K107 FM as the Arkansas Razorbacks will be in Lubbock, Texas, in the wind probably, to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who might say upset Texas A&M last week, and that's not going to be an easy ball game.
That's a lot, kind of like this game. A surprise team, Texas Tech, against a team that was supposed to be among the top teams in the conference, and it'll be interesting to see how that one comes out.
They say that their quarterback, Jamie Gill, has made the folks forget about their last year's quarterback, Billy Joe Tolliver. I've already forgotten him.
Good job. Yeah, he's a fine quarterback. Really rallied them in the fourth quarter against Texas A&M when they were behind, and enabled them to come back and win that ball game in dramatic fashion at home. And it should be a good one. Be sure and tune in for that.
Well,
I want to remind everybody too to watch the replay of this game on Falcon Cable on Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
It'll be John Brewer, the deepest back for the Panthers. Also, Cliff Phillips is back there to await the kick as Watson Chapel won the opening toss and elected to receive. So the Panthers have the option here in the second half and have elected to receive. It'll be Brewer and Phillips, the deepest backs, with Greg Rogers on the far side, one of the up backs.
I'm sure the Panthers will want to come out and try to establish that offense again, get that offensive line moving out the Watson Chapel defense, picking up 4 or 5 yards per pop, and put together a long drive to try to get 2 scores ahead of Watson Chapel if they can.
Kevin Downing is having some problems with his shoulder pads as he is the Chapel kicker, getting set to tee the ball up. By the way, airtime tomorrow night is 6:40 for that 7 o'clock kickoff. Texas Tech Red Raiders hosting the Arkansas Razorbacks, undefeated on the season and in conference play after their win over TCU last week. Well, the kicker's having all sorts of problems, Rob.
Now he's getting the shoe tied up right, and we might have the kickoff here pretty soon.
I believe he has it teed up and is just about set to go, as Kevin Downing is set to kick to either John Brewer or Cliff Phillips, the deepest backs. Downing has the ball teed up at the 40 here in the third quarter. The Panthers will be moving from left to right as you listen.
Yeah, he's having more trouble with his shoulder pads, getting them tied up, I guess. That's kind of like this game has been. It's kind of tentative for some reason.
It really has.
I'm not sure. A lot riding on the game, obviously.
Ready now as Downing approaches the football, gets his foot into it. It's a good kick. Comes to Brewer at the 5. Brewer will come to the near side of the 10. Cuts to the 15. Hit hard at the 17 and knocked down right there. Good downfield play that time by Watson Chapel. As in on the tackle was Robert Kane, and he really met him hard at about the 22-yard line. They'll mark it inside the 20 at the 17-yard line. So Brewer on the return from his own 5 to about his own 17. Panthers will put it in play at that point, just underway here in the third quarter with Benton leading 2-zip.
Brewer comes off the field holding his stomach here. They really took a pop, yeah.
Roger Barker will check into the Benton backfield as they'll have it 1st and 10, mark it closer to the 18-yard line. Goheen in the ball game will go wide to the left. That's the wide side of the field for the Panthers as Collett shouts instructions at the line of scrimmage. Now set. Handoff goes to the left halfback, and up near the 19-yard line on the carry was Jamie Jones. As Jones gets up off the pile, he picked up maybe a tough yard that time up near the 19-yard line as Brian Holter checks in offensively, I believe, for the first time tonight, Rob. Also, Matt Welch will check in at one of the wideout spots.
Drew Yoakum's done a good job on that offensive line tonight. He's getting a breather here.
So Yoakum comes to the sideline. Welch goes wide to the left, and Holter is in at tight end to the right side. 2nd down and long for the Panthers. They're on 19. Here's a play-action pass, a little lateral out to Jamie Jones. Now he comes back on that fake reverse this time. Jones at the 15, the 20, needs a block. 25, knocked out of bounds hard at about the 29-yard line. Panther fans wanting a hit out of bounds.
I think they got it.
Player down. Did the flag go down? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a late flag, and it was Brian Holter really he peeled back and really leveled Watson Chapel's Torrance Jackson, and he's the guy that's getting up slow. Now, I think they're going to call him for a hit out of bounds. It was
a
close.
Hard hit and close. You're right.
It was really a hard pop, and that turned into a pretty good play. Again, a lateral to Jones. He reversed his field, picked up some blocking, and got ahead for good yardage. Looks like they marked it about the 28, and they're going to pick up 15 more. They'll call it the 29 and add 15 for a personal foul.
So the personal foul brings the ball out to the Panther 44-yard line. As checking out of the ball game, Torrance Jackson, who was, as Rob said, level on the block by Holter. Daniel in the ball game will come to the right side, short side of the field. He'll be picked up on this side by Roberts in the defensive secondary. As Collett brings his offense to the line of scrimmage. Up under center, Jake Watney. Wishbone formation behind Collett. Here's Collett spinning. Handoff. Barker has a little bit of running room over the 50 into Chapel territory at about the 49-yard line is Roger Barker.
That was a really strong run and really what the Panthers are looking for. They had it in one good drive there in the first half, but that was as assertive as the Panther backs have been since then.
Brian Holter checks back into the offensive huddle, and again, Drew Yoakum comes out of the ball game.
Barker becomes the 9th back that's run the ball for Benton.
So Brian Holter is in at the tight end spot. Wishbone formation behind Collett on a 2nd down and 3 play. Collett spins, wants to get the ball to Barker, finally does. Little misconnection there as Barker's met it about the 50 and driven back. Not a clean handoff there.
Just barely got the handoff away because of penetration by Watson Chapel. A good defensive play there. They broke down the interference, and they just barely got the handoff away.
Loss on the play. It's just on the Chapel side of the 50. It'll be 3rd down. The Panthers will still need about 3 for the 1st and 10. Goheen in the ball game, wide receiver. He'll come wide to the right, short side of the field for Benton. 3rd and 3 from just inside the 50. Here's Collett, option left. He'll keep 45. Collett hit and knocked forward to about the 41-yard line. Brad Collett getting up a bit slowly, but he's okay. And 1st down carry for Brad Collett. Mark it at about the 42.
He makes good things happen when he runs the ball, and tucked it up that time and got ahead for the 1st down.
1st and 10, Benton in Chapel territory. Call at the 42-yard line. Rick Daniel will check in to the Benton offense. First and 10, Benton. They have it at the 42-yard line. Collett brings them to the line of scrimmage. Benton leads 2-0, early 3rd quarter. Handoff Jones. Jones in trouble. Jones is going to be dropped. Back at about the 43-yard line.
Jamie just a little tentative there. There wasn't really much room to run there in the hole, but
Jamie saw the hole was closed up, popped it to the outside, and just nothing doing. Marked the ball just inside the 43. It'll be 2nd down and about 11 needed for the 1st and 10. So give Jamie a loss of about a yard on that play. Collett sets him on a 2nd down and long. Here's Collett, comes down the line on the option. He'll keep 40, inside the 40, inside the 35, to about the 34-yard line. Brad Collett, another good run. He'll be short of the yardage needed for the 1st down, but a good run nonetheless for Brad Collett. Fine junior quarterback for the Panthers. Ball will be marked at the 34-yard line of Watson Chapel. 8:24 left to play, 3rd quarter. As Daniel back in the ball game will come wide to the right, short side of the field. Yoakum back in the tight end to the left side. Little's in at fullback. Here's Collett. Comes down the line, left this time on the option. He'll keep inside the 35 and still on his feet inside the 30 down to the 28. Maybe got it to the 27-yard line.
Strong run. He gained a couple of yards there just on strength.
It's a 1st and 10 carry if all holds up, and it does. 1st and 10 Benton as the ball is inside the 30 near the 28-yard line with 8:01 left to play, 3rd quarter. Benton on top 2-0. Danny Cochran's in the ball game for the first time in a while. He'll come wide to the right. Yoakum remains the tight end to the left side. Little at fullback. Here's Collett, fumbles a snap from center, and I believe Brad fell on his own fumble as he never got the handle on the snap from Jake Watney, but he fell on the fumble. And the ball will be marked at about the 32-yard line. So Benton looking at a 3rd down and still long. Mark it closer to the 33. So it's 2nd down and still about 10 needed for the 1st down at the 34-yard line. Daniel wide to the right. Wishbone behind Collett. Here's Collett, fake up the middle, a handoff up the middle, as breaking into the open is Greg Little inside the 25, down to the 22 goes Greg Little.
Good hard running. He spun out of one tackle and got ahead for a couple extra yards there.
Good job on the handoff and carrying out the fake by Brad Collett. As the Panthers will look at a third down, they still need close to 4 for the 1st and 10. Ball is at the Watson Chapel 22.5-yard line.
This is the kind of drive Benton wanted to have here in the second half. They need to go ahead and finish it out this time. If they can do that, they'll really take a positive step towards winning this ball game.
Clock down to under 6:38 left to play. Here's Collett, comes down the line right side, caught from behind, and fights his way up close to the 20-yard line. He'll be well short of the yardage needed for the 1st and 10. Panthers have run the clock down to the 6:20 mark here in the 3rd quarter as they took the opening kickoff. And Greg Mundy is checking into the ball game as Greg Little will come out. So it'll be Mundy. We see John Brewer and Jake Goheen checking in. Jamie Jones will come out. So on a 4th down, and the Panthers needing about 2, they put big Greg Mundy in at right halfback. Yoakum the tight end to the left side. Brewer at left halfback.
Watch for Brewer off the right side.
4th down and 2. Handoff Brewer, right side. You're right, inside the 20, down near the 18-yard line.
I think he may have been a little short.
Yeah, I think he's short. I think you're correct. We'll wait to the umpire, see where they spot the ball inside the 20, closer to the 19-yard line. And we'll have an official timeout and bring the chains in from across the way. Clock is stopped at 5:48 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Benton leads 2-0. Safety coming on a tackle by Cliff Phillips. Chain is brought in. They'll stretch it out. It is short. About a half-yard short of the yardage needed, so Chapel takes over with 5:48 left to play, but Benton ate up clock. 5:48 left in the 3rd quarter.
Again, the field position is in Benton's favor, and the onus is on the Benton defense to keep Watson Chapel bottled up. They had one good drive that was marred by penalties in the 1st half. Otherwise, Benton did keep them in check.
Wildcats take over 1st and 10. They'll have it at their own 19-yard line. Running room to Chapel's right. Roberts goes wide to the right side. He's picked up on that side by Phillips. Van Hoos hands off to the first man through. That's the fullback Lancaster. And Lancaster, as he gets over the 20, is pushed back hard.
An excellent job there by Jared Hambrick.
Good defense by the Panthers.
The middle of the Benton defense. Greg Mundy, of course, in there, too.
Ball is spotted out just over the 20-yard line, set up a 2nd down, and the Wildcats need 8 for the 1st and 10. Ball at their own 20-yard line, nose the football just over the 20. Single setback this time behind Van Hoos. As Van Hoos sets his offense, quick pitch goes to Dickinson. Dickinson, the 20, 25, 30, knocked down across the 30 as he got it to about the 33-yard line on a good tackle that time by, is that Rick Daniel?
Daniel and Barton in on that one.
But it's a 1st down carry for Dickinson, the running back. He was a single setback behind Van Hoos. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats out near the Wildcat 33-yard line, and 4:43 left to play 3rd quarter. So Chapel quickly to the line of scrimmage. Coming out wide to the left side. Wide receiver, quick pitch goes to Dickinson. He's in trouble, and he's going to be spun down at the 30-yard line.
Good job by Alan Bearden.
Alan Bearden got to him at the 30-yard line, about a 3-yard loss on the play, as Bearden grabbed hold of his jersey and slung him down at the 30-yard line.
Greg Mundy finished him off, doing a good job of pursuit from the inside. Bearden made a cut to inside a block to get to the ball carrier there and got enough of him to bring him down.
Nose of the football just shy of the Chapel 30. It is 2nd down. Wildcats still need about 13 for the 1st and 10. Robert Kane comes wide to the left side. Again, single setback. And that handoff goes to that single setback. He breaks a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage as Lancaster over the 30, got it back to the 32-yard line.
Linebackers in on that tackle, Holter and Barker.
They smothered him at about the 31, make it the 32-yard line. So Chapel needs still 11 for the 1st and 10 with a 3rd down play coming up at their own 33. Clock continues to run with 3.5 minutes left to play 3rd quarter. Van Hoos will send Phils wide to the left side. He'll be picked up there by Phillips. Van Hoos, play action pass, wants to throw. Left side is going to be incomplete. As Alan Bearden had a pretty good shot at an interception on that one. It's just out of his reach.
tried to hit his tight end, Stanley Atkins, really overthrew him. If it had been on line, Bearden might have had it.
Well, the Benton defense did their job as they'll stop Watson Chapel at their own 32-yard line with 3:17 left to play. And Downing will kick to either Goheen or Daniel. Benton's not sure that they're going to kick the ball away. Here's the snap to Downing. Gets his left foot into it. It'll come to Goheen at his 33-yard line. Gets away from one man there. 35, another tackle broken. He's up to the 39-yard line and knocked out of bounds on the far side near the 40-yard line. Panthers weren't absolutely sure that Chapel was going to kick that time as Rick Daniel came running up to the line of scrimmage. Goheen stayed back, and the return from his own 32 out to about the 39-yard line. First and 10 Panthers.
Good job of returning there by Goheen with really not much interference. Just juked away from a couple of Watson Chapel tacklers.
Nose of the football just shy of the Panther 40, so they have good field position. They've had the ball for the better part of this third quarter as Holter is back in a tight end.
Defense did their job getting the ball back for him.
Here's play action pass. Coming to the right is Collett. Now he'll run. Keep 40, 45. Breaks tackles over the 45 to the 46-yard line.
Just a good decision by Collett. He looked up. He was trying to hit Holter, and he was double covered coming out on the right side. He looked to his secondary receiver, which was John Brewer, out in the flat, and he wasn't open, so Collett just tucked it up, made positive yardage, got 6 yards.
6-yard pickup for Brad, 46-yard line. It was Tyrone Fields in on the tackle. Panthers look at a 2nd down and 4 from their own 46-yard line. 2.5 minutes left to play, third quarter. Wishbone behind Collett. It's a 2-0 Benton ball game. Collett fakes up the middle. He'll keep. Now tries to pitch. Made a good choice and kept the football and is dropped at about the line of scrimmage. He wanted to pitch that ball back to Jamie Jones, but made a wise decision and pulled it back in and took the lick just over the 45-yard line.
There'd been just a little bit too much space between the two of them for him to pitch under duress like that, so he just tucked it.
Panthers look at a 3rd down and 4 from their own 46-yard line as Rick Daniel comes wide to the right side. Short side of the field for Benton. Comes back in a tight end to the left side. Collett, the handoff up the middle goes to Greg Rogers. Rogers will find his way for a couple of real tough yards up near the 48-yard line as the Chapel defense is stiffened here on this drive with 1:41 left to play third quarter.
It's just been a good, tough defensive game. Rogers that time broke through the first line of defense, but didn't have quite enough momentum to go ahead and pick up the first down, so they're a couple of yards short. Looks like the Panthers will go for it or try to draw Watson Chapel offside like they did earlier in the game.
4th down, the Panthers will need about 2 from their own 48-yard line. Jake Goheen's in the ball game. Right side, the short side. Let's see if Collett tries to draw them off sides. No, quarterback sneak. Collett breaks open at the 45, down to the 41-yard line.
On him.
He popped open on that quarterback sneak after he got past that initial line of scrimmage.
Well, there's Sam McCampbell just getting up off of Clifton Wynn, the nose guard for Watson Chapel. He just buried him. And the middle of that offensive line just really caught Watson Chapel on their heels and blew them out. And Collett broke free.
And a quick call, quick count, too, by Collett.
A change-up.
1st and 10 for the Panthers. Nose of the football just shy of the Chapel 40-yard line. Collett has them set. Collett spins, handoff Jones, cuts back up the middle, and is spun down inside the 40 at about the 37-yard line. Jamie Jones has had some tough going tonight as he's fought for all of his yards.
11 carries, 24 yards. It has been a tough going in there.
Pickup of about 3 that time for Jamie. Sets up 2nd down and 7. Less than a half minute left to play third quarter. Goheen goes wide to the right side. That's the short side. Collett sets him in the wishbone. Handoff, or rather a fake up the middle. Now pass to Goheen is going to be incomplete down at the 22-yard line. Fake up the middle to the fullback, and then the throw to Goheen falls incomplete at the Chapel 22. That'll stop the clock with 17 seconds left to play. Brad Collett a bit slow getting up after he got that pass away and was hit.
I'll tell you, Jake's reputation precedes him. He is double covered all the time now. And that time they tried to get it to him, and Collett made it a jump ball situation so that the only one that could get to it was Goheen, and it was just a little bit too tall for him too, and it went out of bounds.
Third down 7 for the Panthers, the 38 of Watson Chapel. Play action pass. Collett rolls right, throws deep, intended for Drew Yoakum down around the 5-yard line. It falls incomplete as Drew stretched out but could not haul it in. Brad's pass just a wee bit overthrown. That stops the clock with 11 seconds left.
He had him open, but just let him a little bit too much. And
tough pass to throw going to his left, being a right-hander.
yes, he did a good job of getting it out there. Just let him too much, and Drew made a good try for it. Just a little short.
Fourth down and 7, Brian Holter will check in. The Panthers will punt it away. Line of scrimmage is the Watson Chapel 38-yard line. 11 seconds left to play as John Roberts will drop back deep to await the kick from Holter. They drop back for the punt return. It'll come to Roberts. No fair catch. He takes it inside the 5. It's going to be cut down across the 5 at about the 6-yard line. As he made a dangerous catch at about his 4 and got it out over the 5 to about the 6-yard line. So once again, Chapel deep in the hole with 2 seconds left to play, third quarter.
It really wasn't very wise for him to field that ball at the 4-yard line and try to run it.
In all probability, it would have gone into the end zone unless it took a great Benton bounce, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score, Benton 2 and Watson Chapel nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. I know it. You gonna make it, bub? Larry Hart along with Rob Patrick. We're entering the fourth quarter of play. Benton with a 2-0 lead. And Watson Chapel will start their drive here in the fourth quarter following the Brian Holter punt from their own 6-yard line.
Defense and field position wins big games. The defense and field position for both teams has been excellent. Benton's defense has been able to score. That's been the difference. 2-0.
Van Hoos takes a handoff. Will hand off to, let's see who was in there. That's the ball carrier was Lancaster back in there. And he'll pick up yardage out near the 10-yard line to about, well, they got it right at the 10, it looks like, from here, just shy of the 10-yard line. Call it the 10. It'll be second down, and about 7 needed for the first and 10. Ball spotted near the 9-yard line. Wide receiver will come wide to the right for the Wildcats. That's Marcus Langford. Van Hoos has the handoff going to Lancaster again, and he's going to bust his way up near the 14-yard line. And a lot of maroon jerseys over there once again to smother him at that point.
Boy, it's a tough hitting out there, I tell you. Somebody really lowered the boom on, is it Lancaster or Broyles there, getting up slowly?
That's Lancaster.
It's a new ball
That's 23. That's
Robert Kane.
So Kane seeing action.
His first carry of the night, and he paid for it. He's going to have to come out, I believe.
And we have an injury timeout on the field with the score, Benton 2, Watson Chapel nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. Oh, shoot. Just as the Chapel Wildcats come to the line of scrimmage, we have another timeout taken, Rob. So, well, we have the opportunity with this timeout. 10:37 left to play in the game with our score, Benton 2, Chapel nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. Got a break on that one.
Yeah.
You have to nerve, see how fast you get them cartons in there.
Load them up.
Larry Hart along with Rob Patrick back at C.W. Lewis Stadium. When time resumes, Watson Chapel will have the football. Third down, they will still need about 2 for a 1st and 10, as the ball is spotted at the Chapel 14-yard line as they come to the line of scrimmage. Van Hoos, the quarterback, has Kane, and I believe Dixon's in there at running back, or Dickinson. They set up behind Van Hoos. Third down play, man in motion back to the far side. Spin, handoff goes to, that's Lancaster back in there, and Lancaster is out over the 15, up near the 18-yard line, and should have the yardage needed for the 1st and 10. So it's a 1st and 10 for the Chapel Wildcats. 10:33 left to play. Clock will stop as they move the chains. Ball is spotted at the 17-yard line of Chapel.
Benton Another Chapel player coming off slowly there.
Sam McCampbell, I noticed, still trying to walk off an injury as he was shaken up earlier in the ball game a moment ago on the sideline. So it's a 1st down and 10. Ball on the 17-yard line of Watson Chapel. Wildcats trail the Panthers 2-0. That score coming in the first half on the safety on a tackle by Cliff Phillips. Van Hoos spins, play action pass, rolls right, getting some pressure, gets a pass away. It's going to be picked off with Jake Goheen at the 32-yard line. Jake Goheen made a dive for the ball and came up with it as he picked it up off the top of the grass at the 32-yard line.
That was really an ill-advised pass by the quarterback there. He was being rushed. It really looked like he just threw it out of desperation, and he didn't get much on it. And it went right and just kind of floated out there, and Goheen broke on the ball better than anyone else and came up with the interception. We'll call it the 31.
31-yard line is where they do spot it. Following the interception, Goheen stays in the ball game. He will come wide to the left as Collett will bring him to the line of scrimmage. 9:51 left to play in the ball game. Collett spins, hand off to Jamie Jones. Jones finds some running room this time behind the right side of his offensive line, inside the 30, down near the 27-yard line.
And Brad Collett did a good job just getting the ball to Jones, because on a stunt, Ralph Owens, the defensive tackle for Watson Chapel, was right in Collett's face as he was trying to hand it off to Jamie. Jamie got good control of it, jumped over a pile, and got ahead for some yardage.
Ball is at the Chapel 27-yard line. Rick Daniel in the ball game goes wide right. John Brewer is checked in at one of the halfback spots, as Collett will set his offense in the wishbone. Handoff goes to Roger Barker. Barker's inside the 20 and on his way to the 15-yard line. Roger Barker.
Suddenly
Well, I thought I was going to see a flag. It looked like the right side of the offensive line moved, but no flags on the play. Just quick off the football.
Suddenly the Benton Panthers have come to life with that big turnover. The defense has continued to pick things up here, and now the offense is taking their turn.
Roger Barker's carry down to the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 Panthers, the Chapel 15. Collett shouts instructions at the line of scrimmage. Out of the wishbone. Collett spins, handoff, Jamie Jones. Jones inside the 15 and gets a couple of more tough ones down near the 13-yard line. Like you say, Jamie is picking up 2 and 3 at a time. He's had close to 15 carries in the ball game tonight. Jones will come out. John Brewer will check in. Goheen will stay in the ball game. Clock continues to run. 8.5 minutes left to play in the ball game. Ball is inside the 15, just inside the 14-yard line as Collett brings him to the line of scrimmage. On a 2nd down play, out of the wishbone, spin, handoff, as Brewer fights his way inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line. As Brewer running hard as he's been doing since getting a start about 3 weeks ago in the J.A. Fair ball game. And Brewer is inside the 10, Rob, down close to the 8-yard line.
Good surge, offensive line really coming to life and giving those backs some room to run. Brewer at that time leaped through over a pile created by that left side of the offensive line. Got ahead 4-5.
Panthers can pick up a 1st and 10 just inside the 5. Goheen goes wide to the right. Wishbone behind Collett. Here's Collett calling. Collett spins, handoff to Barker. Barker's going to be stacked up at about the line of scrimmage. Just nothing doing that time as Chapel stacked it up at about the line of scrimmage. Collett, no gain on the play for Roger Barker.
Now what do? You send Heath Nix in to kick a field goal? Well, yep. Still the difference would be a touchdown. A touchdown would put Watson Chapel ahead. So I think they may go for it here in hopes of putting the 6 on the board and putting Watson Chapel really under the gun.
4th down and 3 for the 1st and 10. about 8 for the touchdown.
Brad Collett, the quarterback, exhorting the offensive line to come up with the big blocks here.
Daniel to the wide side, left side of the field. Here's Collett. Collett will roll right. He's being chased. Gets a pitch to Jamie Jones. Jones is going to be spun down for a loss at about the 10-yard line. It looked like Collett was going to be collared for a loss, and somehow he got that pitch out to Jamie Jones, but nothing doing as Jamie tried to cut it outside to the far side, knocked down at about the 10-yard line, and the Chapel defense rises to the occasion and stops Benton.
That's been the story of the night. Both defenses rising to the occasion when necessary, and now it's back on the Benton defense's shoulders to keep Watson Chapel bottled up. The field position has been all Benton pretty much.
That's the difference. That's the difference, the field position.
Field position and defense wins the big ones.
Chapel takes over as they mark the loss out near the 12-yard line. 1st and 10 Chapel at their own 12. 6:37 left to play. Handoff goes to, I believe that's Robert Kane back in the ball game, but whoever hit him really,
I think it may have been Alan Bearden.
Really made a hard hit on Kane at about the line of scrimmage. You might have fallen forward for a yard. We have an official timeout.
Kane has carried the ball twice, and twice he has been just...
He was belted.
He has
and
been
we have
belted.
another...
I think that's him down again.
So we have an injury timeout on the field. 6:22 left to play in the ball game with a score. Benton 2, Watson Chapel nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. Man, he hit him, didn't he?
Chapel has 83 yards total offense in this game.
How much?
83.
Back at C.W. Lewis Stadium, 6:22 left to play in the ball game. As that was Kane that was shaken up on the play. Did you decide who made that tackle?
I think it was Alan Bearden, although it was somebody on that right side of that line. Cliff Phillips is over there at the right corner. They came up quick and really just nailed him, laid the wood to him. And
that'll be, since we haven't had an overabundance of great offensive plays, that'll be one to watch for on the playback on Falcon Cable 4 on
both
Sunday
times
night.
Kane carries the ball, watch it, because he gets
level,
waylaid.
So it is 2nd down and about 9 needed for the 1st and 10. Ball deep in Chapel's territory. Here's a handoff goes to Broyles back in the ball game, and not much doing for him. He's up near the 15-yard line. Our correction, that's Lancaster back in the ball game.
We haven't seen Broyles back in the game. He may be hurt. He had one big run in the first half for 30 yards. It was called back because of a clipping penalty, and I'm not sure what's happened. He's out of the game. Hadn't been in the game, I don't think, since the half.
5:45 left to play. As Chapel looks at a 3rd down, and they still need about 6 for the 1st and 10. Ball just shy of their own 15-yard line. As Van Hoos brings into the line of scrimmage. Here's Van Hoos. Handoff goes to that Kane, and whoever it is going to be pushed back well short of the yardage needed for the 1st and 10 as maroon jerseys smothered that ball carrier.
Barker and
Lancaster.
Mundy.
Lancaster, the ball carrier, back in there.
Nix. Hambrick. Cliff Phillips getting out of there. It was just a host of
Benton defense.
Yeah.
Benton defense. 4th down, and they still need between 4 and 5 for the 1st and 10, so Chapel will be punting from deep in their own territory as Goheen and Daniel will drop back deep, so Benton again should wind up with excellent field position. Goheen is back in a single safety to await the kick. Here's a pretty big rush. Kick away, not a particularly good kick. Taken by Goheen on the run at the 44, and he's going to be stopped at about the 43. So Goheen took the ball in between 2 men coming downfield for Chapel at about the 44 and falls forward for about a yard at the 43-yard line.
Well, if the Panthers can threaten again here, they can really take a lot of the time off the clock. There's only 4:37 left in the game. If they can just threaten here, they can really make it tough on Watson Chapel. And, of course, if they can score, they pretty much seal this game at this point, I think.
1st and 10 Panthers, the ball at the 42-yard line.
Just a quick stat here of Watson Chapel's total offense for the night, 88 yards, all on the ground.
That's the entire night. entire game. Wishbone behind Collett. Here's Collett. A little mix-up in the backfield. He gets the ball off to Brewer as one of the Watson Chapel defenders got in there and almost busted that play.
Again, Ralph Owens shot the gap and really lowered the boom on Collett, but Collett did a good job of getting the ball to Brewer. Brewer got a chance, got a good hold of it and got ahead for
actually
got a yard or two.
Got a yard out of it. Mark it at the 41. Second down, 9, Benton. But the important thing, the clock continues to run. Second down and 9 from the Chapel 41-yard line.
Chapel's really got to be thinking here, stop them on 4 downs.
Matt Welch
can pick up a couple of 3 first downs. They'll be in good shape.
Matt Welch wide to the left. Here's Collett, handoff Jamie Jones. Again, Jamie's hit at the line of scrimmage, but falls forward and finds his way inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line. And again, just another 2 or 3 yard pop for Jamie. It'll be third down, and the Panthers will still need close to between 6 and 7 for the first and 10. Ball marked inside the 40, call it the 39-yard line. 3:15 left to play. Clock continues to run. Mark the ball at the 39-yard line. Goheen will come wide to the left. Yoakum, the tight end, to the right side. Wishbone behind Collett. Panthers lead 2-zip. Collett again barks instructions at the line of scrimmage. Has the football. Handoff. Rather, he's going to keep the football and pass intended for the tight end Yoakum coming across the middle, but it falls incomplete at the 25-yard line. As Brad fakes up the middle, drop back, trying to get it to Drew Yoakum, but it falls incomplete. That'll stop the clock. 2:54 left to play, and brings up fourth down. The Panthers still need 7 for the first and 10.
Again, they'll try to nail Watson Chapel deep in their own end and force them to, at this point, they're going to have to come out, open it up a little bit, I would think.
John,
we may see him go for the block here.
John Roberts back deep inside his 5 to await the Brian Holter kick. Line of scrimmage, the 39. Here's the rush from the outside. Holter gets a high, wobbly kick away to the far side, lands at about the 10. Panthers trying to reach it. Did they get it at the 1-yard line and push it back? They got it down around the 2 or 3-yard line.
Adam Wright knocked it back, but they say he was in the end zone and that it's a touchback. Good job by Wright getting down there and knocking it back, and they downed it inside the 5, but they're calling it a touchback, saying that Wright was across the line, the end line.
So it's very close, but it'll come out to the 20. And Watson Chapel has 2 minutes, 44 seconds to work with. Panthers lead 2-0. First and 10, Chapel there on 20-yard line.
And once again, it comes down to the Benton defense.
Has Chapel been across the 50 this half?
They have not.
Did not think so. Van Hoos brings him to the line of scrimmage. Van Hoos, hand off to the big fullback. That's Kane back in the ball game, and Kane fights his way over the 25 to about, that's Lancaster, rather 22, not 23, is Lancaster. Got it out to about the 27-yard line.
Roger Barker stopped that one from being a big gain.
Wildcats,
as it was, they got 7.
Got 7 out of it, so it's second down and 3 for the Wildcats. Ball at their 27-yard line. Coming wide to the right is Langford. As Van Hoos sets his offense, that is on 27, second and 3. Handoff goes to the fullback, and he will fight his way forward to about the 30-yard line.
Keeping it on the ground.
So the ball carrier,
just short of a first down, I believe.
It will be shy, so third down. Ball is just shy of the 30-yard line.
Don't need a measurement there because they know they've got to make it to the 30-yard line stride because they followed the touchback.
Following the touchback, it came out to the 20. Third down and short as Van Hoos brings him to the line of scrimmage. Kane and Lancaster. It's Lancaster getting the ball. Breaks tackles out over the 35 to the 40, the 45-yard line, and knocked down there by Jake Goheen. And Jake Goheen might have saved a touchdown, Rob.
Really, he was the last man.
First down carry out to the, call it the 45-yard line. Knows the football just shy of the 45. 1:30 left to play in the game. Wide right comes John Roberts. First and 10, Chapel, their own 45. Van Hoos brings them to the line of scrimmage. Lancaster and Kane, the running backs. Handoff goes to Kane. Left side, breaks a couple of tackle. Flags go down as Kane goes down at his own 49-yard line. That flag was thrown where you would expect a holding penalty, Rob.
Yes. Marking the ball about the 49. Looks like it'll negate 4 or 5 yard gain there.
A minute 15 left to play. It is a holding call. Holding call against the Wildcats will wipe out that gain made by Kane.
Every time
15 left to play.
The Wildcats haven't been able to get much going tonight offensively. the 2 times they have, this being the 2nd time, penalties have really hurt them.
So the holding call will set the ball back to the 36-yard line. First and 20 from the ball just over the 35. Call it the 36. Timeout on the field with our score, Benton 2 and Watson Chapel nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment. They got a kicker. Back at C.W. Lewis Stadium, a minute 15 left in this one, and it's certainly not over, Rob, even following that holding call. And mark the ball back to about the 30, just over the 35.
You'd think Chapel would have to put it in the air, but I thought they would at the beginning of this series, and they didn't. They picked up some good yardage on the ground. So I don't know what their kicking situation is. If they can get in position for a field goal, the left-footed kicker Kevin Downing has kicked off well and punted well tonight, so he may have the range.
So it's a first down and 15 at the 35. Play action pass. Van Hoos getting pressure, being rushed, gets the pass away. It's going to be incomplete. And the Panthers almost had an interception by Brian Holter on that one.
Good job by Jared Hambrick chasing down Van Hoos. Had a hold of him when he had a hold of him as he was throwing the pass, and really caused him to throw it short. Good job.
Taking on the first hop by Brian Holter. He couldn't quite get to it. The incompletion will stop the clock with 1:09 left to play.
As of now, Van Hoos is 0 for 5 in the air with 2 interceptions, so he's going to have to do something that he hasn't done yet in this game, complete a pass.
Second down, 19.
For them to be in position to win this game.
Browning comes wide to the right. Or rather, Roberts comes wide to the right. Dropping back, straight back. Van Hoos gets a rush, gets a pass out in the flat to Kane. Kane's over the 35, up near the 39 before he's dropped hard there. And Kane is hurt again.
A safe screen pass there. And it picked up a few yards, and they were hoping to break it big.
And again, we have timeout on the field taken by El Dorado with 50 seconds left to play with our score. Benton 2, the Watson Chapel Wildcats nothing. Panther football will continue in a moment.
El Dorado. El Dorado.
See what I said?
I'm out there for El Dorado.
Sound like Frank Gifford. My producer said that I said timeout El Dorado. Of course, that was timeout Watson Chapel on that last play. Time back in, 50 seconds left to play. Watson Chapel looking at 3rd down and 17 from their own 38-yard line. Lone setback behind Van Hoos. Van Hoos fumbles the football. We'll have to chase it down. Big scramble for it at the 35.
Recovered.
Football.
On it is Jared Hambrick.
Jared Hambrick fell on the football at the Watson Chapel 35-yard line with 46 seconds left to play in the ball game.
I'd say it's a Benton victory, and
don't say it yet.
I'll tell you what, this defense tonight for Benton has just been phenomenal.
They've been magnificent.
Everything they've needed to do, they've done.
They've come up with pass interceptions, fumble recoveries, big defensive plays, pressure on the quarterback. And the offense has kept the ball enough to eat up a lot of the clock.
That's true. You can't overlook that.
1st and 10, Benton at the 35-yard line. Clock running, 25 seconds as Brad Coddett will just take it and fall to that one knee.
Chapel may be out of timeouts.
I believe they may be out. They have not taken one yet. The clock continues to run as we hit the 10-second mark, as Benton will not have to run another play. 23 seconds, 20 seconds showing on the 25-second clock as the Panther fans will count it down, and the Benton Panthers have put away another conference win, undefeated in conference play with this 2-0 victory over the Watson Chapel Wildcats. Back with the wrap-up as Panther football will continue right after this 60-second timeout. Take four. Take 4 spots. Take 4 spots, Teresa. If you remember to find celebration, we'll use that too.
Crazy.
Rob Patrick back at C.W. Lewis Stadium, and Rob, we didn't see a lot of explosive offense tonight, but Benton did enough to win, and like they say, a win is a win is a win, and a big conference win.
It is indeed. Keeps them on track for a conference championship and a playoff berth. 2-0. The defense does the scoring. The offense takes care of the time on the clock. Eats it up, and though they didn't score, they were a big part of this game as well. And of course, the defense was just tremendous, bottling up Watson Chapel, holding them to 6 first downs and under 100 yards total offense. They completed just 1 pass, and they had 3 big turnovers. Of course, the winning score was the safety with 1:04 left in the first quarter. Cliff Phillips and I think Jared Hambrick was in on the play. They tackled Everett Dixon in the end zone for the touchdown for the safety, after the Panthers drove 79 yards and came up 1 yard short of scoring a touchdown.
So we've got to give the offense part of that too.
You do have to give them credit as well. They took care of the football, didn't have any turnovers, and they really sustained the field position, which was key to the victory as well. Good job by the special teams and the defense and the offense, and really, considering it was just a 2-0 game, both teams did a good job of doing what they had to do to win.
Chapel got a couple of good drives started, but they killed themselves with penalties on those two.
Really, they had two big drives. One of them keyed by a 30-yard run by Benny Broyles, their tailback, but that was called back, and they never quite recovered from that one. They got something going late in the game, but then a holding penalty dropped that one back and made them have to go for long yardage plays. They did get an interception early in the game and got down as close as the 12-yard line of Benton, but then Jake Goheen picked off one of 2 interceptions for him on the night, and again, the Benton defense rose to the occasion.
Well, back on the road next week, and that'll be a tough one.
It will be a tough one. Hot Springs is still the team that everybody said would be right in the thick of the race in this 4A South, and tonight they're playing at Texarkana. If they win that game, they would have every reason to believe they're still in the playoff picture, and it'll be interesting to see how they look, because they have been kind of a mystery team this year.
Okay, Rob, I'll let you go and get to your interview time, and we'll be back with the final word right after this timeout. Go ahead and take another 2, Teresa, then I'll wrap it up. I know there were no timeouts tonight till the end of the game.
Give me a breath right before you go into your sponsor list.
Get what?
Give me some kind of a breath or
okay.
pause before you go into your sponsor list.
Okay. Back at C.W. Lewis Stadium as the Benton Panther fans and band celebrate on the sidelines a big conference win. Not a high-scoring game, but a big victory for the Panthers, 2-0 over the Watson Chapel Wildcats. On the road next week at Hot Springs, as the Panthers will take on the Trojans in Hot Springs. That'll be a 7:30 kickoff from Hot Springs. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Again, that final score, Benton 2 and Watson Chapel 0. Tonight's broadcast has been brought to you by the City of Benton, by Westside Pharmacy, Benton State Bank, your hometown bank, by the Thomas Real Estate and Insurance Agency, Adams Pest Control, First Electric Cooperative, Attorney Doyle Webb, by Walmart Tires and Automotive Service, Holloman Insurance Agency, by Ron's Body Shop, Carter Tire Company, your State Farm Insurance.
As to how this financing of the senior adult center might have to be done or might need to be done to fit the requirements of the law. I would not want us to be bound at this point.
Well, Mr. Cunningham, and I think it's obvious, or it is to me, that the council is totally dedicated to coming up with an option to provide approximately $10,000 a year to the senior adult center to be used as a maintenance account. At least I've never heard anyone on the council express a reservation to me. And this option that I just described was given to me, as you know, as one of 2 options that we have to pursue. The City of Little Rock dedicates the interest off their bond issues to these type organizations, and so that's where...
I'm not challenging.
Yeah,
I'm just simply raising some concerns that I have and some things that we would like to see better defined. As an opinion, it might take an attorney general's opinion or some opinion as to what we can legally do under the present statutes governing the cities. And that's the reason I want to I want a disclaimer here. I want to leave some wiggle room in the, because I don't want it to be fine. I want your actions to be of such that we can come back and amend what we need to. One other thing, I would like for us to consider. I stated on the agenda at some point there's going to be a committee, an advisory committee or something like that. So I would like for that committee to have some input into this also. I would hope that be part of the committee's function. So on that, and if you lock it in now at $10,000 or whatever, that locks out the committee's input. So I would want that to be considered also. Am I out yet? Is that germane?
Yes, sir. I think that's the purpose in appointing the committee. I think that what we're attempting to do is to get something on the table to move forward with. And if we can't, in other words, if the council's not in agreement of what we're going to try to do, it's difficult for me to go out and get these people from Stevens to do all this work, and then, I don't have any backing. So
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm in support of what you're doing, but I want to make sure that we leave enough latitude here that the action is not so definitive and finite with the council's action that you can't do anything but that. I want to leave us.
It's just like that ordinance that we just repealed. We can take action, and the council would, and I really believe, and I think you have my total support in providing maintenance money for the senior adult center, and we're going to do it one way or another. Just like our first option didn't work out, they told us we couldn't legally do it. This one I've been advised we can do, and so we'll continue to pursue it, and if we can't do do it, we'll come up with another one. Yes, ma'am.
Must this concern for the senior adult center be tied to the building project of the city municipal complex?
The money is what they're talking about.
Yes, but when it's placed on the ballot,
Does it have to be?
yes.
Is that what you're saying? No, ma'am, it doesn't have to be. There's nothing
But
that
it
would
will be.
require it. Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that right?
Under the committee's recommendation, if it
The
is
city-
accepted, it
In other
would be.
words, the city doesn't want to support the maintenance of the senior adult center unless the city gets its hog share first.
Well, ma'am, when you say the city wants and city this, you're talking about the 20,000 people that live here,
I'm
not just
afraid
this
not.
committee. It's just like
Not
when
very
the
well
city,
represented.
it's just like when the city voted to build the senior adult center. It wasn't just the body that was here, it was all the citizens. And so when
But
you talk
I'm
at
talking
the
about what will
city,
appear on the ballot. That will be in municipal complex, a bond for municipal complex with interest from that bond going for senior citizens, senior adult center maintenance.
that is the proposal, yes, ma'am. We have a motion and a second to accept the committee's recommendation. Is there any further discussion?
How certain are we that this proposal will fly, that this is a valid legal method for providing both fundings? I think Trent raises some very legitimate points that
We're as certain as Mark McBride of Stevens Incorporated is the man who advised me of the options available to us under the scenario that was presented. And so that's as certain as we can get at this point.
that was my question. I didn't know where.
I think that all these questions will obviously be answered before the ballot title is written, because the people going to sell the bonds are going to make sure our ballot title is correct before they go stick their neck out to sell bonds. And that's just the whole process.
Sure.
The bond sellers, their attorneys, everybody reviews this whole package. And so there won't, unless somebody makes mistakes, there shouldn't be one.
What we're talking about now is the general concept right now, not the specifics
Yes, sir.
on it.
I think,
To proceed with this concept and do what's necessary to.
Mr. Cunningham,
I have one other question. If for some reason there's found that we can't do what we propose to do at this particular point, or if we find that the advisory committee that you will appoint comes back with a different recommendation, are we saying that the council would then either amend or look at again this motion's being passed here
Yes,
to
sir.
accommodate the desires of the attorneys, bond attorneys, or the recommendations of the advisory committee to change possibly what's been approved? Or this is just one to express that your interest or your intentions to support this? Is that the sense of the motion to express an intent, or is this in fact a motion to establish what we're trying to do here? I know I'm raising some questions, but I think it's legitimate that we determine here whether or not this is.
Because the motion is that this be what we propose on the ballot. And I think the point as to, I tend to agree that's a very specific recommendation.
I haven't seen the list of the people that the mayor intends to nominate for this committee, but I agree with a statement that was made the other day about collective wisdom, and I would find it very difficult to disagree with probably a committee of 20 people that had looked into this. If I make a vote here tonight and they come up with something different, I would take the wisdom of those 20 people and consider changing my decision, Mr. Cunningham, on that. And I wouldn't be locked in with every how I vote tonight, if this advisory committee recommends something, I would certainly consider that collective wisdom that's provided through this committee to change it.
That's just a sense of what the council is doing.
And I would like to just make one statement if I could, and that'll be my last on this matter. I concur with Alderman Curtis. You know, I think one thing about this is the manner in which it's going about, in which the mayor's proposing would go about this, and that be with the Building and Office Space Committee and their work and recommendation, then a Citizens Advisory Committee to provide input to the council from the citizens of Benton on this matter, and then to have it, as we were required to, by a vote of the people of Benton. I don't know how much better you can get than that of having extensive input from the people solicited. I know this committee will be having their meetings and public hearings and such on this to you know, develop their recommendations. I would like to say that from my position, I think have felt from the first that the first priority in this, and the whole reason that this all came about, was for the effort to provide the Senior Adult Center with the maintenance funding that they requested. And to that, I'll indicate that I am committed to that objective, regardless of how this situation works out. But I think that has to certainly, just for Mr. Cunningham, you understand, at least from where I come from, that that's got to be a part of it for the Senior Adult Center. And if for some reason that doesn't work, I think we could look for alternative means of providing that funding. And just as a single member, that's where I've come from on that.
Larry?
In Ms. Booth's report, she mentioned interviewing the architects, but there was no recommendation. Is that a separate?
Yes, sir. It's only a separate issue.
Now, one statement that was made, I believe, by Ms. May here. The two issues are really not separate, because in essence what we're doing is using the interest income from the bonds to fund the Senior Adult Center maintenance. So if you have two separate issues, one passes and one fails, then you don't have a complete project.
You can't do one without the other.
No, and that was one thing I didn't think got settled. And I wanted to make that very clear, that it's all one issue.
Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Ms. Boone has the floor.
We have one other recommendation. We did interview 4 firms, and it is the recommendation of the committee that the services of Lower Perkins and Kennedy of Little Rock be procured for this project.
Mercer.
Sir, I have several comments that I'd like to make, but before I do that, I'd like to defer to anybody on the floor that would like to make a comment, and then I will conclude with my comments.
I think that we need something on the...
Need a motion to second.
Need a motion to have discussion. I think that'd be the appropriate man.
This may have an impact on it. You want a motion? Gotta have a motion.
We can have a substantive motion. Did you move? I'll second, just to move the discussion on.
What do you motion?
I move to have a discussion.
You move to have a discussion?
Yeah, move to accept the committee's recommendation.
Did you move to accept the committee's recommendation?
No.
You
I move to have a discussion.
I think that'd be appropriate. I think she can make any motion she wants to. She can make a motion that we discuss what firm be hired. And that's what I think she's moving.
Mac wanted to have a discussion, and you said that we had to have a motion to have discussion. So I so move that we have a discussion.
I second your motion.
We have a motion to second. We have a discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That's proper.
I don't know what we're discussing.
Move what she wants. Doc settle it.
Well, I want everybody to have something.
I agree.
Yeah.
Having the floor, I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to defer to anybody. It's obvious this is a volatile issue, so I'd like to keep it as light as we can without anybody getting really nervous and upset. So, is anybody out there that would like to make a comment before I conclude with these remarks? Or conclude my remarks? Mr. Black? Please.
I hope this is not a volatile issue.
Let's get a resolution.
It is an issue that's of great concern to me and to the people who work for me. We've spent 10 years working in Benton, building what we thought was a good reputation, building what we feel is a good reputation, not only in Benton, but throughout the state. We have grown to the point where we are one of the larger firms in the state. We're at a point where we can provide services on projects from $25,000 to $15 million. And we have projects in the office of a variety of sizes. We've had several projects through the office as large or larger than the project that you're contemplating, as we understand it. We have interviewed against the firm that you are recommending in other parts of the state for the same project or for two projects, and we were selected for the larger of the two projects, and they received the smaller of the two projects. We've gone up against them in other part of the state and have been successful. I think we've all seen a letter petition that has been presented to the mayor and members of the council, signed by representatives of over 40 businesses in Benton, that we've either provided architectural services on a repeated basis for, or that we do business with on a repeated basis. I guess essentially I'd like to say I feel that our firm, without any hesitation, is well qualified to do the project that you're contemplating, and having problems with the idea that it's going to be a firm outside Benton, selected by our city council, or at least recommended by the committee to do that work.
Mr. Baxter, maybe you have the recommendation.
I would like to speak as a satisfied customer of Black & Recording. As most of you know, they designed the office building that I practice law in, that is downtown, that is part of the tax base on which this bond issue would be predicated, just like anybody else's property. I feel that they are eminently qualified. If they can handle anything from that size to the recently approved hospital expansion, they're certainly capable of handling a new city complex. To me, if we have people locally that are qualified, it only makes good common sense to spend local taxpayers' money on local people that will likewise spend that same money in this county and in this city, where it can circulate back amongst the same folks that paid it. It doesn't make good sense to me. It doesn't seem to be in harmony with the whole concept of a balance of trade, or whatever you want to call it. Just to automatically pay that amount of money, ever how much it's going to be, and export it somewhere else, when you could keep that same money right here at home among home folks who could do the same work. Just common sense, I think, to keep it here. It'd be different if we didn't have people that were qualified, but I believe that we do.
reiterate again what Ray and Larry have said. Bill Hope Engineers, we provide professional architectural engineering services, are licensed in the state of Arkansas. We, again, feel, just like Larry and Ray said, we try to do business here in Benton, and we support Benton. Larry is very involved in the community and supporting the city and the growth, as we are at Hope Engineers. We're very involved and committed to the growth of Benton. We both have large firms. Larry's got a lot of folks working for him. We've got a lot of folks working for us, and we support Benton. Our payroll, we've got large payrolls, and that money stays here in Benton and Saline County. And I just think it would be in the best interest of all of us if we could choose a local firm.
Is anyone else's local firm represented here tonight? I want to be sure that all firms are equally, because the other two's not here. They weren't invited.
I'm going to bring that up for me.
They won't leave anybody out. Yes, sir.
I have to admit that...
May I make one observation? This is really not my bailiwick, but I want to make one observation. Back last year, we had a problem with the roof at St. Center. And it's a flat roof, and you know the problem with flat roof. And one of the things we were trying to do was try to determine what's the best method for fixing a flat roof. And we had 4 or 5 companies bidding on it. None of us have any expertise in flat roofs or that sort of thing. So we asked a local firm to help us determine what we need to do. And at no cost to us, Mr. Corley did the architect, did the design, did the specs, and reviewed the bids and recommended us a bid to do the roof on St. Augustine. I'm just saying this, they did it at no cost to us. And we think that's a tremendous contribution. It saved us a considerable amount of money to help us pick the architect. They did the specs first and picked the architect. I mean, the company to do the roof. And then they volunteered their time to inspect it and make sure it's done according to specifications. I don't know whether you can get that stuff from somebody else or not, but I think that's important. It's important to us to get that sort of stuff.
I'll conclude by what I wanted to say by saying I was very much surprised whenever I attended the committee meeting and the decision was to go with the firms outside of Benton. I'm not a member of that committee and was not able to vote, but so be it. I think that sends a very bad signal to the rest of the people in Benton that you don't think that folks in Benton are good enough or more qualified enough to do the kind of work that we want to do. I think it also sets a tone for folks that trade in Benton. I think it's important that Benton folks trade with Benton folks, just like Mr. Baxter said a minute ago. I had a bunch of notes here, but everybody else has already said everything that I wanted to say, except that these folks make money here, they pay taxes here, and this other firm, as I understand it, they don't pay their taxes here, and the money will find itself out of town. And I have to commend Mr. Black and Mr. Hope there. They're both very strong public servants. They give their time to the Chamber of Commerce and various other civic organizations. And I guess I'll wind up by saying that I like what Mr. Curtis said a while ago in terms of collective wisdom. And inasmuch as the mayor is considering or going to appoint this Citizens Advisory Committee here in a few moments, it's on the agenda, seems appropriate to me that this issue could be referred to that committee. There's 25 or 20 of those people. We said we're going to let them look at sites and let them use their collective wisdom and make a recommendation to us back to them. That's an important issue. just as well as the selection of an architectural firm, get some more collective wisdom. Accordingly, I feel like it's appropriate for me to make a motion or move that this issue of the selection of an architecture firm be referred to the committee, the advisory committee, and let them make a recommendation back to us what they think about the architectural firm, which gives them opportunity to comment about Mr. Kleinman or Mr. Black's comments or whatever.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak just a few minutes in defense of the actions of the committee. First of all, let me say that this has turned out to be a very volatile issue. And it was mentioned that we get through this before everybody got nervous. Let me tell you now that I'm nervous. Whenever I quit being nervous on this council, when I'm not concerned enough to be nervous, then I'll ask somebody else to run and fill my position. Times like this is the times that I get most nervous, when it comes time to make decisions concerning my friends, people that I've dealt with for years and years. In defense of this committee, I'd like to look at this. I look at this petition that Mr. Black brought me this afternoon. A lot of good people on here. A lot of business people that signed it. I've got no qualm with anybody that signed this petition. I think that's good that people can carry petitions around and get their friends to sign whatever they want them to sign. There's people that'll sign anything. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody that's on this, because I see some of our most dignified business people on here. And I respect each one of them that signed it. But I also respect the time that this committee has put in looking through these things and trying to select a architectural firm. I look down through here and see people that runs grocery stores. I see people that's lawyers on here, furniture stores, all kind of professional people. As I was thinking about this, I was thinking about, and I told Larry came to my house this evening. Him and I visited for quite some time. And I told him there was one position open and 4 people that applied for it. 3 people wasn't going to get the job. Whoever we hired, the other 3 was going to be unhappy about it. Whether they be local, whether they be out of town folks. A lot of things entered into this considering who we hire. I was thinking about people in here that run businesses. They hire people to work for them. I was thinking about people that maybe, I look on here and see a guy here, I just pick out, I'm not going to call any names, but a person come to him and this guy was in court. They had this guy in court. They said that he had robbed a bank. And this guy come and testified against him. He seen him rob the bank. He knew he was guilty. The judge didn't believe him. A year or 2 later, the judge turned the guy loose that was accused of robbing the bank. A year or 2 later, the guy that accused him testified against him, went to him and asked him for a job. What, you reckon the guy hired? About a year ago, this council was accused of being racial bigots, prejudiced, racially inclined, because we revoked an ordinance that we passed. I was hoping it would never come to this point where I'd have to make these statements in this council. Calling names, I refrained from even bringing this up because I didn't want it to get in the paper things that I'd said. But there's been people call me on the telephone. There've been people that called every other member of this council, probably fussed at them about who we hired. We couldn't speak up. We couldn't speak our piece. We had to sit and take what people called us because we was afraid of what we'd say would get in the paper or get on television because we hired the firm that they didn't want us to hire. Well, a year ago, and I told Larry Black these same words standing on my front porch this afternoon, if his testimony in federal court when they accused us of being racially biased, if that judge had accepted his testimony and convicted us, I told Larry, I said, Larry, I wouldn't be making baskets this afternoon. I'd be in Leavenworth prison or some other federal prison because of a decision that I made on that council. And I said, and I also told him it would be hard for me to vote for him because of the testimony that he presented against me in federal court, because I was sitting at this council drawing $71.28 a month after my insurance comes out to pay my cancer and heart attack premium. Serving the people of this town, being accused of being racially biased because we rezoned a piece of property that he had interest in and drawing the plans up, the architectural plan for it. And there's people out there that has signed this petition that don't know that. He carried this petition around, and I'm not saying this because I don't like Larry Black, because I don't think he's qualified to do the job, but I think there's people out there that ought to know the truth about the thing. And we, us 10 people, have sat here and not brought the truth out. It's time the people out there know that these 10 people, we're just people too. We've got feelings that people accuse us of being bigots and everything else, and we just have to sit back and take it. Suzanne Brown was at federal court. She knows what went on up there. Sid knows. He knows what we was called up there, Mr. Tyson. We was accused of being bigots and everything else. And it's hard for me, and I'm not saying this is the only issue that entered into it when I didn't vote to hire Black, Corley, and Associates, but I wanted the people out there to know that this is one alderman that's got enough guts to get on television or have it in the Courier to tell the truth about the thing, why we didn't hire Larry Black. And because this guy that didn't hire that man because he testified against him, whether he be from Benton or what, and wherever he be for, I think people of this town needs to know the truth about the thing, and that's all I have to say. I may be speaking from behind bars in a few days, but I wanted that off of my chest. People have called me and hung up on me, wouldn't tell me who they were. They've called the city treasurer and they've called the city clerk and everybody else and fussed at them because we didn't hire this man. And there was 3 people that was not going to get the job. And I expect if we'd have hired Bill Hope, Larry'd have still been mad. The guys at Hot Springs have been mad. The guys in Little Rock have been mad because we didn't hire them. I've applied for jobs and didn't get them, but I didn't run around gathering up petitions like this. And petitions, you can get people to sign anything. There's a guy called a man I know this evening and said, well, I wouldn't have signed that if I'd have knew that.
Now, you mean that you think if you would bring a petition to me, I'd sign it whether I knew?
I didn't say you would, Miss Frost.
You said people. I'm a people.
Some people. Well, some people. I'm sorry, Miss Frost, if I offended you.
You didn't offend me, but I wouldn't sign anything I didn't know what it was.
Well,
some people do.
Some people will, though, Miss Frost, and you know that. I didn't say that to be derogatory against anybody, but I said that to get a point across that some people will sign. And I'm not saying that anybody on here signed that like that. That's all I have to say, and I'll take anything anybody wants to shoot at me.
Mr. Mayor, as everyone I'm sure knows, I was in the middle of this situation last year, and I felt very bad about the accusations made about this council, who did what they felt to be right in the eyes of the law. I was also upset about the fact that the complaint in federal court made the same allegations about the private citizens of Benton who supported the council. And it's in there, if anyone would like to see it, it states that this, not only the council, but the citizens who supported the council in this effort. But my position on this situation, there's personal situations involved in that issue. But in this issue, my position is, and will remain, that every firm that was considered for this be given an equal opportunity and equal consideration, regardless of that fact, regardless of what may have transpired. What concerns me at this point is that this council works by committee. committee structure is the foundation by which recommendations come to this council. Alderman Curtis made reference to the fact that that committee interviewed these firms. They considered the proposals by each of the firms. We had a discussion here tonight, which essentially was a presentation by the local firms with no notification that I'm aware of to the other firms that they could come and make a presentation and repeat their presentation as they did to the Building and Office Space Committee. And again, the fact that the committee studied this and made this recommendation, you know, if every time we have a committee meet and a committee makes a recommendation, and then we've got to have the entire committee process go over again in the council, then we're going to have a problem. We're never going to get through meetings, and our whole structure of functioning by committees is going to break down.
See, you voted against the budget your own committee proposed.
Let's remember what we said earlier. This is an emotional issue, and whoever has the floor, let's respect their...
You're right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
If I may, just in conclusion, if there are factors that cause this recommendation not to be appropriate, then I would want to know those. At this point, I have not heard any reasons that overwhelmingly convince me that the committee made any mistakes or wrongful decisions in their actions. Now, if there were some, if those were presented, I would like to hear those. I'd like to consider those. But at this point, we don't have that. And in addition, we have representatives from 2 of the 4 firms, so I don't know how even tonight I could expect to give a fair shake to everyone. But you know, if this committee can't what we're saying against the statement was made that, well, you know, firms in Benton can't do the job. Are we saying this committee didn't do their job when they reviewed the firms and went through this process and developed their recommendation? And if not, then I'd like to know exactly what went wrong and what's not right about that recommendation. And in the absence of any evidence to the contrary of their recommendation, I'm going to support that committee's work.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, I appreciate all the comments made tonight, but I would like to go on record, since I was part of that committee, saying that I took all the interviews we had with all the firms and graded them equally. In the committee process, which I feel like is what we operate under, I had opportunity to voice some opinions that I had supporting local firms. I feel like I had adequate time given to me to present those. I just happened not to be in the majority. I also would like to join Alderman Gibson in supporting the committee's recommendation.
Do we have any motion?
We haven't had the committee report yet. We're still in discussion, I guess.
Chairman Boone made the recommendation to accept a Roark, Perkins, Kennedy, and Perry.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the committee recommendation to acquire the services of Roark, Kennedy, Perkins, and Perry. Is there any discussion?
Did you recall that motion?
There was no second.
As long as you acknowledge it. I'd like to just make one comment that the committee, the architectural firm was selected, does have one of our local boys who has gone to Little Rock, and we're quite proud of, and that's David Perry, and I think the public should know that we did give consideration to local as well as local people, even though he does live in Little Rock this time. Everything has been considered. We've got for
years now. Well, I make the motion.
Well, I'm afraid I can see the handwriting on the wall, but I've made some notes and I'm going to say them. These are at random, and I appreciate you turning the air conditioner on. These are disjointed. I don't think we've sent any kind of a clear signal on the one hand that we think local people can't do the job when we go out somewhere. That is a sticky, sticky issue. I tried for a long time to get some sort of a penalty or some sort of an equalizing factor when we buy materials from out of town. We bought some pickups tonight, out of town. We had one bidder from in town. He had no particular preference. And somehow, I feel pretty strongly about these arguments that are made about doing local business when we can. Let's buy American, if you will, when you can. The argument against defying the committee, I respect, but the final decision is of this whole council. Congress also works by committee, but many times the committee's recommendations are not followed because each congressman has the moral obligation to weigh the evidence and then vote as he sees fit. And I sat here and I made lists in favor of the motion and against the motion, anticipating that the motion would be what it was. I have two factors, and all this has been said, two factors under the list in favor of it. The fact is that the committee recommended, after due deliberation and hearing all, to accept the Little Rock firm. And a local person is a partner now, as I understand it, in that firm. It is now called Roark, Perkins, Kennedy, and Perry. And I think that's your family, is it not, Ms. Frost?
No.
May Kennedy? Well, I'm kind of glad. Ms. Frost is kin to one of the closest friends I've had in this world for, I'm not going to tell you how many years, but it was 42. So I kind of wish you could too. Now that's what I see. It's in favor of the motion. Against the motion, it's been pointed out that a company outside our taxpayers' area will be the biggest profit maker, if you will. Many citizens who would be denoted, and I have not heard this, many citizens who would be needed to support the project at the ballot box have petitioned us to contract locally. And I feel, this is a subjective statement, I feel that there are many more out there that feel that same way that are not on that petition. In favor of against the motion is that two local firms were invited to give the presentation and both were apparently adequate, but lost out in a judgment call. And this was corroborated, at least from Alderman Robertson, in that he rated all four equally. I was not at the presentations. Fourthly, local firms have contributed free services to the city government and to other local public entities. Now, as I weigh these forces against each other, I'm left only with one other thing, and that's Billy Bob's argument. I'm less offended. I was not in Little Rock, and that may be a factor too, Billy Bob, but I'm less offended about the charges of racial prejudice. I have interpreted this primarily as a legal method. I did not take that personally. I don't think that the people who said anything that they said actually felt in their heart that I was a racial bigot. I interpret that as a legal method that would be parallel to the way that I see our emergency clauses on our ordinances. We quite frequently, with the exception of Alderman McManus, we frequently vote on various ordinances because it's to save the lives of all the people in the county. paraphrasing, but that's essentially what we voted. And it is not legally true. And as Alderman Raleigh pointed out that night, it is simply a legal mechanism to get done that which we need to get done. I've been doing a little polling around here as we've been talking, and I think I'm like a salmon. And there may be a fish swimming upstream. I feel strong about this local thing. If we're going to build Benton, we've got to work together. If we don't work together, then we're going to wind up just another little mediocre Arkansas team. And I think that's a little bit harsh, maybe to say it that way. But I feel pretty strongly about us working together. I don't know that you would agree that this is a factor in that sort of thing, but I kind of feel like that it might be.
You know, I worked on the original bond issue. My husband and I went around to everybody and asked them if they objected to having the senior adult center down there, and the senior citizens worked at the polls free, and we got the building built, and it's a showplace for America. We've had people from all over the world come there to look at our building, and you're going to treat us right. I know you are. And my kid's been a policeman here for 18 years, so we sure need a new police building. We need a new fire station. And what's bothering me is if you get half the people on this side and they're mad at the devil, half the people on this side and they're mad, you're not going to get your bond issue passed.
My turn. Pardon me, I'm like everybody else. I'm nervous, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
The only thing I'd like to say to that, and I appreciate everyone's comments, Ms. Frost, appreciate yours, but I think it's going to go back to one thing, and that's what Alderman Curtis says. You're going to end up with people mad at you no matter how you go. And you have to take a position no matter how you go. And when I first made my comments, I said, if I can hear anything that gives me overwhelming evidence that that committee didn't do its job, and I'm yet to hear that. And I said, an open mind and a fair opportunity for everyone. And if that's what that committee did, Alderman Robertson even intended to indicate that everyone had time to make their presentation, to make their proposals. Again, I just want to make the statement, I still haven't heard anything that changes the committee's recommendation in a substantial manner. So I think this council is open to hear that, but I have not.
Right.
Alderman Curtis, I want to tell you that I have acquired a new respect for you tonight. But you've come out and blatantly said what the real issue is. You didn't hide it. You came right out and said it. And Alderman Gibson, you said you hadn't heard anything to tell you that the committee had made a mistake, when at least one of the members of that committee blatantly admitted that his decision, in part at least, was based on prejudice against somebody because they exercised the right that we all have, and that is to speak our opinions, and just so happened that that one was in a federal court. I thought that we had the right to do that sort of thing. And now we find unequivocally that yes, we have that right, but with it comes a price. And that price is that you won't be on the same footing with everybody else when you are considered for city jobs, if you happen to testify against the city.
Is that an insinuation of what I said? And the mayor, I'm going to put this one, the mayor can back me up. We spoke by telephone. The mayor, did I not tell you that I felt every firm should be given an equal opportunity in this issue, regardless of anything else? No, I want to answer. You said that the statement I made about everyone having a fair shake was a lie. No, you said it was not true. That's not true. They don't get it.
Because Alderman Curtis told you it was.
I want to ask.
He was there. He was on the committee. He blatantly admitted that in his own mind he couldn't do it.
Let me just ask Mayor to answer that one question, and I'm going to. Did I not, Mr. Mayor?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what you said.
Exactly what I told you.
I know that that's
And that
what
is-
you want. What I'm telling you is listen to what the other folks have said around you.
I have.
He just got through saying that he didn't give everybody a fair shake. He said he couldn't, and he was honest about it, and I respect that honesty. I wish we had more of it.
And I think that goes back to something that Dr. Bashir said, and that is an ability to work well together. And that's what I think we all hope that we have here, and in the future, that same attitude is projected towards the city government. We have tonight here been accused of building a building for ourselves. You know, we've been accused of doing things that we've just never done. Our purpose here is to provide for the citizens of Benton the best possible services we can. And when people talk about working together, we mean we need the citizens to work with us at every turn, just as we need to work with them at every turn. And that would be my goal in all of this, is that when we do have a project from this day forward, is that we all work together, hand in hand. And the Benton Housing Authority suing the city government for racial discrimination is not, in my opinion, working with the city government. In order for us to have represented the people who stormed us, the decision was made to overturn a zoning decision 4 years old. We represented those people and did that. On the other hand, some people feel we didn't represent them in that action. On this hand, Larry feels committee recommendation doesn't represent him, and these people here feel that way. So what I'm asking is, goes right back to Ms. Frost's comment. Once a decision is made, and this council just happens to be the only possible source of that decision, the state law clearly spells out who makes the decision. And once the decision is made, that we do the things everyone here has alluded to, and that is work together for the benefit of our citizens. And I had this discussion with somebody earlier today. This can either divide us to the point where we get nothing accomplished in Benton, Arkansas, or we can all, once a decision is made by the elected representatives, come together for our good, or we can continue to split and divide and go our separate ways and not accomplish anything. And so out of all this turmoil, personal feelings, because no matter what anybody in this room does or says, it comes down to a judgment call. We listen to 4 professional organizations tell us why we should hire them. In my opinion, any one of the 4 selected would have done us a good job. I don't think anybody has said that they couldn't. And all this stuff, it builds up in people, it does affect decisions, and there's no way to stop it. Because like I told Larry Black earlier today, I said he feels the same way about some of us that some of us feel about him. And that's something that is there and it always will be. Nobody, no human can divorce themselves of their emotions and make decisions without that being a part. And all of us are going to get that chance once this decision's made. And that's whether or not we go forward for the public good or we continue to fight and end up next year still having a meeting in this room. And so I ask the council to weigh all they've heard tonight, make the best decision they can make.
One comment. That's exactly why earlier you heard that motion that failed, because that group of people that you've got there, there's not one single one of them that was sitting on the council and was sued, as far as I can tell. And in as much as there's at least one person, and I respect you also, Mr. Curtis, that admitted that they made that decision on somewhat of racial bias, I'm not so sure that would not make it.
Racial bias? I think you're.
What word did you use?
That's not what his decision was based on.
But the point I make about it is he's already, it seems to me like that appears to be a defective decision by that committee. And you expand it to a much bigger group of people that...
What was the committee vote?
4-1.
4-1. Let's throw one out. What's the vote? 3-1. We still have the same result, even if he'd abstained.
Alderman Chanel.
Mayor, I came down here tonight feeling like Billy Bob. I was thoroughly going to vote against this thing. But for the people of the city of Benton, and what I think it will do for the city of Benton, I'll make a motion that we hire Black Corley Associates or architect, and let's get on with it and help the people of Benton.
Didn't we already have a motion for it, did we not?
Mr. Mayor.
I assume that's a substitute motion.
Let me
second.
No, there wasn't. There hadn't been a motion.
We're in discussion. We're in discussion. We were in the motion to accept the committee's recommendation with the second.
And you can make a substitute motion.
Right.
We didn't say so, just said a motion.
Okay.
We have a substitute motion and a second to hire Black Corley and Associates. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to make one more comment.
Sure. Yes, sir.
I think it is that on our part, we need to listen to our constituents. But for somebody to force us into saying we're not going to support something this town needs because we didn't select the right architect or the right person, then that's just as bad as us making the wrong decision up front.
I agree.
And that's exactly what you're telling us we're going to have to. If we don't take this one man, we don't get the job done. And I kind of resent that.
Mr. Mayor.
I do too.
Alderman Roberts.
Okay. Let me make my point. I was, again, the one voting against the issue in committee. I felt like a local firm should get it. Okay. That vote was taken, and I was not on the prosperous side. I think the point's been made, you made the point, that Benton at this point needs to get together and work toward the good of the community. And what I am hearing here is not the good of the community. It's definitely a division and will definitely defeat the millage. That's the reason that I have supported the committee recommendation, is that I feel like it's time for us to say, okay, I made my best shot. So, but I think we need to get together and go with it.
I call for the question. Put it to a
We
vote.
have a substitute motion to hire Black Corley and Associates for this project. Is there any further discussion?
Request for roll call.
If not, all those in favor, you want the roll call to begin? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Billy Bob Curtis,
No.
Newell C. McManus,
Yes.
Millie Nally,
Yes.
Blake E. Robertson,
No?
Hubert Chenault,
Yes.
James E. Nutt Jr.,
No.
Greg Middlebrooks,
No.
Don E. Brashear,
Yes.
Sidney C. Gibson.
No.
There's 5 no, 4 yes, 1 member absent.
Votes for.
Against the substitute motion.
Substitute motion.
The mayor does not vote. The motion fails.
Is the original motion back on the floor? Call for a question on the original motion to accept the committee's recommendation for architectural firms. Request a roll call.
Billy Bob Curtis,
Yes.
Newell C. McManus,
No.
Millie Nally,
Yes.
Blake E. Robertson,
Yes?
Hubert Chenault,
Yes.
James E. Nutt Jr.,
Yes.
Greg Middlebrooks,
Yes.
Donnie Rushiers,
No.
Sidney C. Gibson.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, there are 2 noes, 7 yes, for a total of 9, 1 member absent.
Vote 7 to 2, the motion passes.
I'd like to make one other statement.
Yes, sir.
Just to be short. When we was in committee, before we voted on hiring the architectural firm, I made this statement, and people there will verify this. If the firm that I chose, or I wanted, was not selected, I would change my mind and make the decision unanimous if I was not in the majority. The statements that I made here tonight, I will work for the betterment of this city as I have for the previous 15 years that I've served on this committee. I did not say anything to offend anyone, I hope, not intentionally. I spoke what was on my mind and felt like I need to say. When I go to bed tonight, I'll have to go to sleep on what I said or what I didn't say. When I wake up in the morning and go to the mirror to shave, I'll have to look at myself. That's the reason that I said what I said. I didn't say it in a derogatory manner against anybody, against any firm. If I've offended anyone, I apologize. I said what I had to say because I had to say it. And if people out there, I hope they take it in the right way. I'll continue to serve my city as much as I can and do whatever I can for the betterment of our community. If it be, and I'll still say that I'll support whatever it takes to support the Senior Citizen Center. Mr. Cunningham and all senior citizens down there, I hope understand that. But it's very near and dear to me. A lot of memories down there as far as I'm concerned for me and my family. I'll continue to work to try to get a new municipal complex. I hope the citizens do pull together. And I'll do whatever I have to do. If there's people out there that thinks I'm the dividing point, I'll try to weld that back together with whatever I have to do. And continue to serve this city for the time that they've elected me to do so in the best of my ability, making decisions that I think is right. I have never voted. I know that I've made some mistakes, but I've never voted on an issue when I didn't think that I was doing what was best for this city and all 20,000 of its inhabitants and its citizens. There have been times when it turned out that it wasn't the best thing to do. But with a clear conscience, I can say that that's been the reason that I've voted the way that I have, the reasons that I've said what I have at this table. And I know many, many times I've said the wrong things. For those times I've said the wrong things, I apologize to the people out there for that. But I urge the people, if they want a new municipal complex, a new city hall where we can come together with plenty of room, something that we can be proud of, if they want it, let's get together and work for it, regardless of who our architects are, regardless of who the contractor is that wins the job, regardless of the location of where we build it. If it be downtown, if it be on the edge of town, wherever it might be, I think we need this. We deserve it. And I'll do all that I can do to that end. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda.
We hadn't had the vote for this.
I know you voted, but I say just one brief thing.
I'll yield to it.
First, I'd like to say I appreciate what Mr. Curtis said.
just then, and also what he said earlier, I respect him for standing up and saying what he did. I'd like to make 2 points. One, I take a little exception to what he said with the implications of racial bias and that were made at the trial. I don't think that I said anything in that trial about racial bias. My testimony was about zoning and the procedures that went on in the zoning. The second thing I'd like to say is it was mentioned that people on that petition supporting me, or supporting the local businesses, might not be in favor of the project if the law architect were chosen. I don't think that's true. I think the people that signed that petition are strong enough supporters of the city of Benton and realize that this is an important enough project that I would hope they would still support the project.
I need to ask the mayor a question. It disturbs me. In your summation for Ms. O'Neill, you indicated that what transpired in that filing of suit and about racial discrimination being charged, the city being charged with being racially biased, was decisive. It disturbs me that a comment like that would be made, because what you're saying is if a charge is made, be it valid or invalid, that they are persons will then be excluded from participating in the city. You said that. You said that. And that disturbs me. Now, I hope you misspoke, because that implies to me that because of my color, if I take a position in opposition to the city, or if I determine to say that the city is not being fair to me, that I can expect to be treated differently in the future because of speaking what I think is right. But you said that's the comment you made. You made those remarks that would be anti-city, would not be working together. And I think when those kind of things are done, it's done with the intent of improving this city for all of us. And if the courts rule in your favor, that's fine, but we have a right to speak. Mr. Black has a right to take his position. And it disturbs me when that kind of when that's made in summation, that will be treated differently. Those persons that speak against or take opposition to the city is going to be treated differently.
I don't think I said they'd be treated differently. I think what my
you said they were decisive, and that was not in favor of the city. It's not supportive of the city. It's not working together.
Was to conclude that problem could have been worked out.
Well, I hope you misspoke, and I accept it if you misspoke. I accept that.
That was my intent to infer that we could have worked out a solution had we tried.
If you misspoke, I accept it.
Is everybody ready to go on?
Yeah, it says old business now.
Well, we got appointment of citizens advisory.
Yeah.
We passed around the names to appoint on the committee. I think Dr. Bashir has indicated in the committee hearing that this should be passed upon by the council. I've submitted to you for your review.
I move that we endorse the appointment of these so-named individuals as the Citizens Committee.
Second.
A motion accepted. A motion and a second to accept the list of names passed around for the Citizens Advisory Committee. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I think it'd be appropriate for people that are going to be watching this on TV and for the people in this audience right now, for you to read those, if you would, the clerk's going to read those so that they'll know who we're voting for.
Dr. Kenneth Cook, Curtis Ferguson, Arthur B. Holloman, Larry Whitley, Judy Smith, Preston Bridges, Jim Valines, Patsy Reed, Doyle Webb, Charles Cunningham, Wells Alsabrook, Fred Ray, Jim Lynch, Arlene Rainey, Dorothy Suggs, Harold Smith, Dr. David Stewart, Ray Baxter, James Hirschfield, and Charles Nick. Is there any further discussion?
Not a senior citizen on there, is there?
Good question, Greg.
Well, I'm not going to say if somebody's
Mr. Cunningham, did you come down? Are you a senior citizen?
Not yet, he's not.
How about Miss Rainey?
He's not on the bank.
Wells also, bro. Arlene Rainey.
The head of the Senior Adult Center.
Social Security is what they're saying.
The director.
That's three, I think, Ms. Frost.
And the director of the center.
We all no problem.
Ms. Frost, would you like to serve?
No, thank you.
Well done.
I have my cup full already. I'm president of Lee County Council on Aging, that's why I'm here.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried. Is there any old business? New business?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the past number of years that I've been watching television and reading newspapers, you always hear in the big cities of the tenants and the big apartment houses looking down on the street and watching people get mugged and attacked. And I think that's a crying shame. In a small town, in a progressive small town as we have here, I think it's quite admirable when you have just the opposite happen. That of individuals voluntarily offering their own lives for the safety of other people. And I think the action that occurred a week ago in the on the 4th Street tragedy, the Barrow House, requires some acknowledgement from the city for 3 men's heroic actions that indeed put their lives in danger. That's the reason that I would like to move that we nominate these individuals for a certificate of heroic action.
Second that.
Okay. Let me in the motion put their names. Randall Cordell lives at 203 North 3rd. Frank Holden, 126 3rd Street. And Curtis Kyle, 117 South 4th. Each of these men participated in a section of the rescue of Nikki Burrow. And so I think we ought to recognize that.
Have a motion and a second to recognize these 3 men. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Is there any other new business? Not without objection, the meeting is adjourned.
Maggie.